Alright gang, I feel like we might as well get started. Hey, how are we all doing? We've got Sammy, Diz, Stepan. I saw Amp and Ergi here as well. How are you all doing, my darlings? The game plan for today is a whole bunch of videos to react to, and I'll be going for about 3 hours in a little bit. I am gone the entire weekend, so let's make today count. And let's enjoy the fact that it's Friday, and we do get to do whatever the fuck we want over the weekend, for the most part, unless you guys are working weekends, in which case, fucking RIP bozo. How'd your week go? How's everyone doing? Stepan, thank you for the resubscription. 15 months now, buddy. Let's fucking go. Yeah, sorry, the yapper's just, she's been like this the entire fucking day. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. She just goes around yapping. And the moment I start talking, it just gets worse for her because she feels like, she thinks this is a conversation between me and her, right? You guys aren't a part of the equation here. This is me and her fighting or talking or whatever the fuck is going on in a cat's head. And you lot are just sort of in the background observing all of it. For the content, we've got a little bit about Piracy, we've got a little bit about Discord and their links to Palantir, we've got another Think Before You Sleep video. It's a 42-minute video, and it's entitled Why People Aren't Dating, and the thumbnail is some chick smiling with the caption saying, nose ring. So you know this is going to be one of those where, if you weren't here last stream, I'm pretty sure this guy genuinely hates women. Like, legitimately hates women. We've got Just Strive talking about Stop Killing Games, because there is still apparently some controversy surrounding the fact that people don't know what it is, thanks to Pirate Software lying about it through his teeth, because he's a filthy, disgusting little liar. And we've got a little bit of lefty Infighting, but this, I will probably not get to this. But if we don't, I'll leave this for later, because I do love me some leftist Infighting. I like nose rings. I do too, man. I do too. And obviously, as we are doing all of this, I will be playing Neo in the background, because why not? Still sick, I'm fucking dying on an L4 till Monday. At least you've got some type of work though, buddy. I wish you a speedy recovery, but it'd be a fucking torment if you had to go to work whilst dying. Trump is madging in a press conference right now. Wait, is he for real? Why is he, what's going on? Is there like a bad press conference for him? I'd be willing to watch that. I like nose rings, we used to cover Nose Ring Girl. Did we? I know we've covered the idea of a nose ring as a topic before, quite a few times actually, I think. But I don't know if we've ever... I don't know if we've ever covered the nose ring girl. Is that a... His tariffs are gone. Oh, is it because of what... Is it because of what Quill posted in Discord today? Is that what this is? Oh, bro, shit him send, didn't he? Well, no, he did shit him send. On camera, no less. We were there. America is screwed. You guys will be fine. Although I really hope he gets... Bro, the midterms are coming. I need you lot to fucking eviscerate him in the polls, okay? I need you to obliterate his existence. If there is even one person in America voting for Republicans these coming midterms, okay? I'm just considering the entire country too far gone. I'm sorry, but it is what it is, okay? Not even one gets to vote for that absolute dickwad of a party. Happy Friday, Ray. How are you doing, love? Patriots are in control, Copium. Well, let's see where that leads. Before we see where that leads, though, let us start off with a little bit of interesting news, let's say. Oh, it's not even news. It's more of a. This is just not good. Let me just put it that way, okay? Because I feel like you might be going into this with the wrong expectations. This is not good. Do you think Tectone read Berserk for the rape? I don't think he read it for it. I think he certainly enjoyed those parts of it more than one should. Have you guys seen fucking leaflets defending Nuxtaku on Twitter these last 2 days? She hasn't watched Nicandros' video. She admitted she hasn't watched it, but she said that she's sure it's all just a big misunderstanding. And she said that if any of it is true, then it's not Nux who's to blame, it's the parents. It's the parents who are to be blamed. So when Nux makes a Discord, and on that Discord they groom children, it's the parents who are responsible and not Nux. Who's that? Leaflet is a sort of like a chuddy culture war VTuber commentator, rightoid scum. She's just like a pretty vile person all around, but she also does this style of commentary where everything's never supposed to be taken like too seriously, because at the end of the day it's just jokes and it's just humor and it's just, you know. But yeah, no, she's been defending Nux quite a lot, and it's just it's ridiculous because I think people are absolutely fucking dog walking her about her takes. I might pull some up later and show you. Obviously she's got a lot of support behind her. She's got like a few 100,000 subscribers, I think, and she's a rightoid chud, right? So you know they come out in fucking droves when the topic is something like child abuse, right? Because they do appear to be very much in favor of that, apparently. Very weird, very worrying, but it is what it is. So she's been doing okay in terms of like ratios or whatever the fuck those cringe things on Twitter are called. But in terms of the arguments, she was getting obliterated on Twitter. It was so funny to read. Bro is so mad I can destroy the trade, I can destroy... Hold on, if he's saying shit like that, I want you to link that. I want you to link that and I want to watch it. If he's saying some unhinged shit like that, I want to see, okay? Don't just fucking wet my beak with it, okay? Let me go full force. Gives a link. Got politics to cover, okay? We can do politics. We're all smart enough for that. Oh, I've just realized I don't think I've actually... Hey, Andreas, how are you doing, buddy? I've just realized I haven't added YouTube chat. There we go. We should be fine from now on. I'm watching him on Agenda Free. I do not know what that is. Is there no like a YouTube stream or something as such? There's always a YouTube stream. Well, if you manage to find one, throw it my way and I will... Why the fuck did he respawn? Why are enemies respawning here? I don't like that. Anyway, let's start us off with a little bit of piracy news. Oh, maybe not, maybe not. Maybe Slippy just came in the clutch. Did you finish Bloodborne? No, no, far from it, buddy. We are, I think, second boss in the DLC. But not... Okay, hold on. When does it start? There it is, there it is. Come here, boy. Come here. Okay, we're doing politics first, wow. Chat. Then we're doing piracy.
A lot of people. That's
hey, Popo, how are you
doing? A new
bud?
record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much for being here. The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court. Absolutely ashamed.
I would be proud if Trump was ashamed of me.
To do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom
and
love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way.
Well, against the tariffs.
Foreign countries that have been ripped.
Everyone's arguing against them. What do you mean? Fucking American economists are arguing against them.
Ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you. The Democrats on the court...
Bro is such a fucking creep.
...are thrilled. But they will automatically
no more
vote
dancing.
no. They're an automatic no,
Bro.
just like in Congress. They're an automatic no.
I'm gonna do a boogie.
They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court.
What do the tariffs have to do with political correctness?
Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats.
Oh, rhinos. Oh, he is not happy. I have not heard him mention rhinos in a fucking hot minute. Shit, how many Republicans went against him?
That this should have anything at all to do with it.
What does this have to do with Discord? They were trying to tariff Discord.
True story. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant.
Except for the other ones that were not too big to rig, right? It's just when Trump wins that it's too big to rig. When anyone else wins, it was definitely rigged.
And loud. They're very loud.
Hey, Ritzish, how we doing, buddy? How's life? How's everything?
Afraid of
nice
that.
To see you, bud.
They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic national security, and also, I would say, just for our country itself, so important, because we're doing so well as a country. We've never done so well. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities, as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court. Because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy. I have very
you okay?
effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market is just recently...
I feel like we should clip the "I wanted to be a good boy" and add it to the soundboard. He is not okay. That is a good soundboard clip, though. I wanted to be a... I can play that every time I'm about to turn mean to someone in chat being a dipshit. That is a good soundboard clip right there. Tried being a good boy.
Broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken...
Oh, speaking of the Dow, I don't know if you guys have seen, but literally hours after Levitt said during that fucking hearing that we should be talking about how the Dow broke 50,000, the Dow went below 50,000 again. It's just prophetic. The fucking universe does not like these people.
70, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years, we did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so.
Every record in the book,
Tariffs have likewise been used to end
every record.
5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it.
Is it just me, or did they rub less Cheeto dust on his face? Do you know what? Now that you mention it, I can kind of see it. The only problem here is that, like, his skin color should be closer to his hair color than what we've got going here now. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a little bit, or maybe it's just better lightning. Not lightning, lighting. Right, because lightning would be like sparks and thunder.
Or not. including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%.
Hell yeah,
when
mention
I use
ice,
them
bro.
as a
Mention
penalty
ice.
against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. Guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those three people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives. Great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money. And we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting.
He cried before
but I am
this
allowed
100%.
to cut off any and all trade.
I don't think he did, because I don't think he knows what's happening. I think somebody prepared a speech for him, and Miller probably told him if it's good or bad, and then he just rolled with that. I don't think he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like, I genuinely don't think he could tell you what a tariff is. Because remember when they used the fucking trade deficits to calculate tariffs, Trump was, I bet you he has no fucking idea about any of these things. Trump is approaching his presidency the same way I approached fucking medical advice during COVID. Like every 2 weeks, I'd just check out whether the CDC is telling us to still wear masks or not. And if they told me to wear a mask, I'd wear a mask. When they told me to not, I would not wear a mask. That was like, and I didn't give a fuck about anything happening in between those. Like, it's just mask or no mask. Mask? Right, roger that, buddy. Let's fucking go. It's just the only difference is that I'm not, in fact, the United States of America's president. I will be the God King of Poland, but that's still, you know, that's happening in the future. Yeah, but Trump said I want, and court said no. That was enough to make him cry. I don't even know if he knows the court said no. Like, you know what I mean?
Or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country.
I can destroy.
I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1.
It's not how any of that works. Bro is here. Imagine if Tectone, after his court case, went, wow, so I can literally I can literally go and do war crimes in Yugoslavia. I can go and watch anime girls in Japan, but I cannot go within 500 meters of Pink Chew. What the fuck? That's not how that works, bro. It's not... Are you okay in the head? Well, he's not okay in the head. And neither is Tectone, to be fair. They are both not okay in the head.
Because that's not what it says.
Hell yeah, Quill, yeah.
And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee.
He is so fucking stupid. He's so fucking stupid, bro. What a moron. Actually, to be fair though, I will say, I like to laugh at Trump being a fucking idiot, but that's not what's happening here. He's not being stupid. He is threatening people, right? This is a threat. He's saying that the United States of America has the means and the power to destroy those who disagree. So maybe they should think twice before blocking his tariffs. That is quite literally what he's saying, right? This isn't just stupidity. Because keep in mind, Trump is a fucking idiot. But Miller, who keeps writing his speeches, is probably one of the single worst human beings alive. Like, he is genuinely a horrible human being, a fucking bottom of the barrel scum, net negative for humanity. He's like, if you're like a Christian, right, or if you're a religious person, he'd be like the equivalent of a fucking demon. Raped on the menu stim. Look, I mean, look, it's fitting, right? Because it is Rapeton, isn't it? Hey, Unix, how you doing, love? Yeah, but this has to be one of the most pathetic threats I heard. Well, I mean, they're all pathetic, right? These people in general are pathetic. I'm just saying to not underestimate the malice behind those threats. Because it's easy to do what I've been doing so far, which is to ridicule them for the stupidity of their statements, but there is insane levels of malice hidden behind it. Like, this isn't just him not understanding the court order. Trump probably doesn't understand the court order, but Miller certainly understands it, and Miller is threatening people.
But I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that?
You missed
I'm allowed to embargo them?
You missed a soundboard clip earlier when Trump said that I tried being a good boy, and we are certainly adding that one because that's a good soundboard clip.
I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that
they had us.
I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries.
No, they
but
didn't.
A much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now.
True, global warming has been fucking wild in this year, I will say.
A dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president.
Dead
now
country.
I'm going a different
go.
direction. Probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%. But
he's so good
now
at
I'll
reading.
go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so up, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't, he's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because
it is the way it is. But
other federal statutes, which is
try and keep
authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more
shit,
tariffs.
What's the weather like over there?
Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301. And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338.
Yeah, but what about, because this is the one that he's not considering. What about the bite of 57? Have they found a way around that one? Because that's a big one. The bite of 57 is not to be fucked with.
Clear. but it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability. Very proud of that appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear.
76 or 24C. Quill, do me a favor, hit refresh, because I think you might be, because there's a tactical reason why I asked that. I think you might be about a minute behind in the stream.
Rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible.
Terrible.
And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court. Pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt.
Jesus, he's a moron.
And the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is. Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years. To the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs.
That should tell you something, right? That should be an indication of something. I'm not going to tell you what it is an indication of. I'm merely saying that it should make you think something might be afoot here if they're using these kinds of powers and they haven't historically. Because you've had Republican presidents historically, and you've had presidents who'd increase or decrease tariffs. I'm pretty sure Trump fucked around with tariffs in his first term as well, right? As was his prerogative as the president. And yet the Supreme Court weren't doing any shit like this, were they? And they are now. Why? Why do we reckon that might be the case? Chris, read the chat. You've been corrected on Five Nights at Freddy. Because the first bite happened in 83, aka the big bite, and the second bite was in 87. Yeah, but which one is it that Markiplier says? There's one where he says the bite of 87. I think it's 87. The bite of 83 doesn't sound that good. I'll be honest with you. The bite of 83 sounds shite. That can't be it. It has to be the bite of 87. That's the only bite I care about. Yeah, Quill, right before you showed up, he called them rhinos. He is proper fucking mad. When's the last time you heard Trump use the word rhino to describe his own people? It's been a hot fucking minute, right? I haven't heard it from him in a while.
Essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA. Anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo.
I don't think these other ways are as... because I'm thinking if he actually had so many other ways to get the same thing done and it wouldn't have caused any major fucking issues down the line, he wouldn't be crying like a little bitch right now. He'd just be doing it. And yet he's not simply doing it. He is in fact crying like a little bitch.
Restrict, license, or impose any other condition.
Be proud, Lua. That is a talent right there.
A foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off.
What are you doing?
You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many,
he's mentioned the deficit.
decades.
Yep. He's still using the trade
now
deficits to justify the tariffs.
Affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force
Oh,
and effect.
Goro, no. Bad.
Today I will sign an order to impose a
Bad on 2 counts. Bad. Just bad. Also racist. We do not do racism in here. Bad. Do not do. Say sorry right now. Apologize for the racism, okay? That is bad. We do not do racism in this chat.
a 10% global tariff under Section 122, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
You are hereby forgiven.
Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward, we will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and you know, they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric.
Foreign country centric.
Sending
Come on,
things.
call them a traitor. You want to call them traitors? Just do it. Come on, you wanna do it. I wanna hear you be stupid enough to do it. Go on, Chief. Call them traitors. You know you want to. You know you want to.
Into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial
He's still trying to make
other
money. He's
countries,
trying to help
but
the country.
very,
Of course he
very
is,
bad
Kathy.
for
Yeah, that's
us.
all he cares about.
And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have more of we have a totally firm decision now, and I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now, and the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've
Why didn't
spoken
call
about...
you in the red?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold
I don't know, but
the
they're great
Constitution?
justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men.
Right.
With a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Congress to take additional action on tariffs now?
That's my pet peeve, Lua. Oh shit, I should show you that at some point, but it's not going to make any sense because it's like rooted in the translation. My big issue historically with Trump is that his speeches when they get translated here in Poland, they sanity wash them like a motherfucker. Like, if you don't speak English in this country and you're listening to a speech from him with, like, a translator on top, you will not know how mental he sounds. Genuinely, you won't. And they've put this lady on the translator job the other day. And when she was translating him, she was translating it exactly like he says it. And she was able to translate his, like, weird fucking tangents and ums and everything into Polish in, like, such a fucking perfect way that it wasn't even just a translation. She was in real time, like, making it make sense culturally, you know what I mean? It was fucking incredible. My fiance sent me that, and I was listening to it, and I was just like, damn, bro. I was not familiar with that skill level here. I didn't know we have that in the country. It was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. Old wife and not your fiance. I know.
I don't need you. It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers, and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room.
That should be illegal. I agree with you.
I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We're in Georgia. And
I'm sad to hear that.
I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory.
Hey, Johnson, how you doing, bitch boy? How's life? How's everything? Long time no talk.
Make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you.
I would give you a piece.
How's business?
If I saw you in real life.
President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man.
Hold on. I've missed something here. Let's maybe bring that one back by about 20 seconds. Let's
have to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We're in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man.
Do you know why I think he's saying this? I think he's saying this because he's still wanting to make up for that fucking Ford factory worker who's absolutely fucking destroyed him. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip. I played it on stream, but you might not have been here. But Trump paid a visit to a Ford factory, and one of the workers shouted as Trump was walking by that he's the biggest pedophile protector in America. And Trump was fucking angry about it. You could see him mouthing a fuck you to the dude. Is absolute legend. What's going on, man? Is it me? Have you not streamed in years? No, it's just you, buddy. It's just you. I am more or less here twice a week. You are just making no effort to come and chat with me. And that's an entirely you thing, buddy. I get that translation often needs to making it understandable to the culture and language it's translated into, but it's really hard to not sanity wash it slightly, but I'm assuming she went beyond that. No, the lady that did it, she didn't sanity wash him at all. It was the first time I've heard somebody actually accurately translate everything that he's saying word for word. He usually gets sanity washed, but she didn't do it. She made him sound as fucking insane as we hear him when he talks. Because I'm not even talking about cases of sanity washing that are necessary to like give it cohesive sense. Although to be fair, if he's not making cohesive sense, I don't think the translators should be doing that for him. But like sometimes here, depending on like if you tune into a right-wing station, for example, they sanity wash him to a point where like they translate it into such perfect sentences that barely any Polish person speaks that fluently or charismatically. Apparently just now announced POTUS introducing plus 10% global tariff as a response to the SCO's to the Supreme Court ruling. Dude, every time he does shit like this, people who are his allies that get hit by this as well get turned off from him a little bit more, and I am here for it. That is a net positive as far as I'm concerned.
But a very powerful.
How many Polish people speak English? I would say most of the country, and out of the people voting right-wing here in Poland, probably the lowest margin speak English fluently. Because we have a huge education gap here, and we have huge rural populations that vote for the, socially at least, right-wing parties. It gets a little bit more complicated than that. But the kinds of people that the sanity wash works for are the kinds of people who do support him. So yeah, that's a bit rough.
His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week, and then you came in and imposed tariffs, and all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you.
Dude, working class people aren't appreciative of being made to work 24/7, okay? Let me just make that abundantly clear. There might be people who are happy about the fact that there's more work, but this is not something that would be echoed broadly speaking. Obviously, too much work is better than not enough work, but come on, bro. Like, what are you doing here? Who the fuck wants to work in that type of an environment? That's what Amazon is known for. And Amazon literally has like a bi-weekly controversy where the employees are once again pissing into fucking empty water bottles because going to the toilet takes up too much of their time and they get yelled at by their managers. Like, come on, bruv. Why are you like this? Why can't you just be normal? You've made your money. You've robbed the American people. You are a multi-millionaire. At this point, because of Epstein, you will, irrespective of what you do now, you'll still go down in history as the pedophile president. But you could just give it a rest, right? You could just give it a rest. Like, that really is an option that is on the table. Just like, stop having a go at disabled people all the time. Stop having a go at lefties all the time. Just, like, do something good for America, right? You could. You could just do that. I'd piss on my manager. No, trust me, Amazon is a fucking, like, those kinds of factories are abhorrent places to work in. I like this fake obsession of work. I used to work 1 hour a day. Thanks to you, I'm working 24 hours a day. Yeah, 24 hours a day, 8 days a week, bro. I wonder if the sanity washing is a thing here. I don't really consume Dutch language news about America. I mean, it's rough to say if they sanity wash them in Dutch, because Dutch isn't like a real language, right? Like, can you sanity wash in Dutch? Everything's sanity washed in Dutch. Like, we have ein Problem. Like, that's not a real language, is it? It never was. It never will be. I hate Netherlands. I hate Dutch people. Get a real country. Make up a real language, okay? And then come back and apologize.
But you know what? He just,
Mexico,
just to finalize it, he said, "Oh, this is a
we are
great
taught
place
to speak English since elementary school, and most of the US speak
all
it.
up and
Most of us
down.
speak it. I mean, people are taught English here as well, but being taught English and understanding English are like two very different things. Go put some more vowels in your language and get back to me. I will do that. Grzegorz Brączyszczykiewicz Strzebrzeszyna. I hatfu. Hell yeah. I'll do what I want. Lovely language, lovely people, beaten up and disappeared from the map 8 times over, still here, still keep pushing on, fucking bring on the 9th time, okay? We ain't going anywhere, bro.
The highway. Same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving, and we're hiring people like we haven't.
Everyone is
He
thriving.
said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs. And we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start.
Hey,
that
I'm
are
the Dutch
under
who I am here.
construction
True,
right
they
now.
are the
You see
original
all the
racists
construction
someday.
numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years,
Canada
they've
ripped
taken our
America
market.
off.
They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place because nobody's standing in this position. The position I have as President of the United States had the insight, the courage, well, I don't know what it is, to charge tariffs. You can make your product outside. You can put our people out of business. You can put everybody on the unemployment rolls. But if you're going to make a car in some other country, you're going to pay a 15, 20, 30% tariff. And
Dude, I'll be honest with you. American-made cars are not desired, broadly speaking. And I say this as somebody who has absolutely zero interest in vehicles, and yet American cars are literally my favorite ones, at least like aesthetically speaking, right? They look cool as fuck, but they are not desired across the pond. In either direction across the pond, actually, they just aren't. And I don't understand the obsession with wanting them to become desired across the pond. Like, just, bro, There are things you're good at, and then there are things you're not so good at, and it just so happens that making vehicles falls in that latter category. You're really good at other things. Oh, that is a huge fucking cat. Look at him. Look at his boy. Give Scampus Furball. Hell yeah. How many do I have? How many can I give him? I'm giving him all 4 of them. That is an amazing fucking... The great Scampus thanks you. Can I pet him? I want to pet him. Look at his little bum. He's got a bumhole. They've actually given him a bumhole. Look at him. Why have they done that then? Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to show that on Twitch, actually. Bro's built like a potato and he's got a bumhole. That is lovely. I can pet this small one. Let's go. This game is amazing, man. To be fair, the Americans desire them, and that's enough to keep them pumping out those pickups. Yeah, in America, that's fair enough, but it's not going to go beyond that. And also, a lot of people in America, I think, just want reliable cars rather than American cars, you know? I don't know, it's just weird.
Those things would have never happened. We wouldn't have lost our business. Same thing with, as an example, Taiwan. Taiwan came in, they stole our chip business. They make chips. For 30 years longer, they made chip, and they put our companies. Intel would be now the largest company. I saved Intel. I literally saved it at the beginning of this administration. And now all those companies in Taiwan are building factories in Arizona, Texas, and various other places because they don't want to pay tariffs. They're all pouring into the United States. But just like that great patriot said...
Is that even true, out of curiosity? Because I can think logistically of why it might be a good idea for them to expand beyond Taiwan as well, right? Especially with fucking China looming over the horizon perpetually. Family used to be strictly Chevy drivers, switched when they became ass. Yeah, unfortunately, American cars here are not liked in terms of they're expensive and they're not good for what you get, and the fixing of them is expensive as fuck as well. That's sort of the bottom line of the problem. I absolutely, bro, if I could drive a Dodge Charger, I would be driving a Dodge Charger. Unironically, I don't think those cars are any good, but they look incredible. I would want one like that's like old. You know that shit that John Wick used to drive, or like one from the 1970s, bro. Oh, I'd get a boner every time I'm in that car. But it's just expensive. How the fuck do I get out of here? Like, real talk. How do I want to leave this place and I want to go and play the game. Do American cars just rust a lot? Or I think I remember people talking about them rusting, but mainly it's the fact that you have to import and sort everything out from America if you want it fixed or whatever. So people by and large just like, why would you do that if you can get them much cheaper locally, right? Or not even locally, but from companies that operate out of our countries. Why are Americans always buying new cars? I saw some meme about someone comparing his car to someone else's and bemoaning that his was 15 years old. Our car is from the year 2000, is totally fine. That's not an American thing, though, to be fair. That is a, that's just stupid people across the board. We have that in Poland. I know people who are in debt and they have to have a new car every 2 to 3 years. It's stupid as fuck, but they exist. They are real. Unfortunately. I wish they weren't, but they really are.
Yesterday, sir, what you've done, nobody thought was possible. And Steve Moore, a highly respected economist, came into my office yesterday. He said, you've done something nobody's ever done. 22
nobody's ever
Nobel
done.
Prize winners in economics.
Oh no,
said we would
he's
right
still
now
on about the Nobel.
Be in a recession. And you said, no, we're going to have a booming country. We're going to have a booming country. You were right. All 22 were wrong, and you were right. This country is booming, and it's booming because of the election on November 5th, and it's booming for another reason. It's booming because of tariffs. Yeah, please, go ahead.
I think he might have forgotten that he's supposed to be in the Q&A phase, because he was monologuing for a fucking hot minute there, wasn't he? I think somebody might have reminded him that he's supposed to be taking questions.
Ahead of this
Thank you, Mr.
decision
President.
that if the Supreme
Yeah,
Court
please,
ruled-
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships, I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And
I don't like him.
got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their
Bro.
dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, you know, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago.
Trump
They
article
allowed our
just says
country
the
to be
Osler
eaten
life.
alive.
He
We
wants
lost
to.
50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came.
True,
Japan and
Mexico
Germany.
came. They weren't there
But they're all
earlier.
coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels.
The thing that always annoys the shit out of me as well is that he's never going to actually have a problem with the people who decided, like the corporations that decided to chase profits overseas, right? Like, it's never them that are the problem. It's always something else. It's never the fact that American people got fucked over by American corporations who decided that they can get cheaper labor overseas, such as myself. I am the cheaper labor overseas. Fucking giga-chadding my way through life. Not really, but still. It's always like, there's always a different boogeyman. We can never talk about the fact that this was made to Americans, by Americans.
No, you please. I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, yesterday you made the case that the economy is the hottest it's been in a long time.
Right.
January jobs report beat expectations, CPI report beat expectation, real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this. We really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost
news, true.
every
We do
country
not
in the world.
talk
If
to
you look at
CNN
the
here.
surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world. It
is unbelievable to me that he's still like treating fucking trade deficit the way he's treating them. It's just such a... It's so fucking stupid to do that. Like, it's just such a... Like, this is genuinely low IQ is what it is. Like, unbelievably so.
some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, you know, at some point you're going to say, like, and they have reduced it. You know, fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. President, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way. And we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated.
So he lied then, yes? So he lied. The bottom line is that he lied. He told the American populace that if his tariffs are blocked, then they're all fucked. in hopes that this will stop anyone from blocking them, because otherwise they will upset the US populace. That didn't pay off, and he lied. All right, that's what he did. He lied.
A little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah, please. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So,
yeah, beans don't make me time you out.
$175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. I said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
There's a highlight somewhere around here,
What you're
right?
saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years. Go ahead, Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you are talking about the relationship with countries that you have sought trade deals with, do you anticipate that they will seek to renegotiate those? What do you say to them? And do you view this as a potential undermining power for your
Well, we're
negotiations?
going straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months, we are doing the various investigations necessary to put fair tariffs or tariffs, period, on other countries. So we're doing that period, but we're immediately instituting the 10% provision, which we're allowed to do. And in the end, I think we'll take in more money than we've taken in before.
Mr. President, you've used the tariff revenue to pay for a host of federal policies. You claim that they will pay for them. What happens
Well,
to
like
those
the
things?
farmers, we took care of farmers. You know, the farmers were mistreated by foreign countries very badly, very, very badly. And last week I gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We intend to...
Was that after or before you fucked them over with the money sent to farmers in Argentina that the US farmers are in direct competition with? Just out of curiosity, you know, there's the how does that one work?
Out of tariff money, because just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way. And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well. We just left the...
When he says us, by the way, he means the Trump family. Right? The countries that are good to the Trump family will be treated good. Not to Americans, right? He doesn't give a fuck about Americans.
A top person in a place called Vietnam just left my office. Great gentleman, strong and smart. He said, you know, I think this means you're allowed to charge us more tariffs than before. And Canada said to Jameson, I might want to say it.
Which fucking Vietnamese traitor walked out of his office and told him that he should charge his country more tariffs? I'd be curious about that one, Chief, because I'm pretty sure that's whoever, if that politician even exists, yeah, I'd be careful about letting him talk to Trump in the future.
Jameson, but Canada said, I hope you win this decision, because if you don't win, you'll actually be allowed to charge us with a little additional work, higher tariffs. Jameson, you want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. So, to the President's point, we have a lot of tools out there. We have Section 122, which will be implemented today. It will be signed today and implemented very shortly. We have Section 301 investigations, which are incredibly legally durable. where we can investigate and address unfair trading practices that have led to our huge trade deficit. And so you can look forward in the coming days and
Yes, you
weeks
did,
to see all of
Unix.
that come out. And we're
Yes,
gonna
you
keep
did.
continuity in the program. We're going to keep addressing this so that the deficit can keep going down. That's the trend it has, and we can make America great again.
No.
Ooh, let's fucking go. 2 for 2 now,
Several
Unix.
of Republicans in Congress
Double
have supported
clipper
this
of the year.
decision by the Supreme Court. And Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why
call
wouldn't
him a low IQ?
But why wouldn't
he doesn't even know? And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
But there's been bipartisan criticism
No, not bipartisan.
of the tariffs.
Excuse me.
There's several
A few
Republicans
people.
have said that.
Yeah,
But
a
why
few people.
wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to.
push tariffs.
I have the
through?
right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs, and it's all been approved by Congress, so there's no reason to do it. All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process. Not.
It was just... That was a good follow-up to the wannabe king comment, though, right? Because he's just answered that one with the second answer, right? Why won't you work with Congress? I don't have to. Like, it's, yikes. Just yikes.
Complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs, and the Congress people and the Congress.
Down the Canadian tariffs last week.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
been votes
you
in the
know why?
Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you don't say, you don't say that we had that we got 215 votes.
You need 218 for something to pass.
Yeah, sure we do. We might have lost 3 votes, and we got. And what was the score on the Republican side? 215 to 3, right? But you don't say that. We have great unity. There's great unity in the Republican Party, and I hope everyone's going to vote Republican, because otherwise you won't have a country left, because these people have been destroying. They are destroying.
Well, that aside, if you are in the Republican Party and you don't vote the way Trump tells you to, your career is over, and he's going to go after your family. That's just what he does.
Destroying our country. Please.
Mr. President, the 122 tariffs, that 10%,
Yeah.
is that going to be for 150 days, or do you want to charge that indefinitely?
We have a right to do pretty much what we want to do, but we're going to charge it starting effectively. I think it's 3 days from now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you speak to a lot of factory workers, a lot of manufacturing workers. What does the Supreme Court ruling say? What's that message to those factory workers?
Well, I think the factory workers are happy because we're now telling them that they're going to... Look, the man I met with yesterday who owned a factory was out of business. He was out of business. And now he's employing 5 times. In fact, I walked in, he's got a brand new crane. I said, how old is that crane? We got it in December. He's allowed to write it off in 1 minute. The Great Big Beautiful Act gave no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He said this great big beautiful bill,
what is
frankly,
that, Fiston?
Has been the best thing that's ever happened for the workers of the...
That is a good one. That is a good one. It says a silence liberal, a pedophile, a sundowning.
Much more so than for rich people. The only thing it does for rich people, it allows
She is
them
such
to
a
hire
queen,
a
isn't
lot
she,
more
Laura?
people. But when I saw him, and then he said it's all up and down the line. This is a place in Georgia, all up and down. Other factories doing different, not only steel products, different. He said every one of us was out of business. We could barely make it.
Every one of them.
Some of them were down to less than an hour a week. Think of it, 1 hour a week to make just a few little trinkets or whatever they make. Now they're going
And then
round the
Trump
clock. I had
came
it
in and saved
a month ago. I went
everyone.
to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford, and we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, just I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down the lowest since 1900, around the time that he had this plant. That's 125 years. We have the lowest murder rate. Okay.
Okay,
And
I
our
feel like
crime
I
is way
dodged
down
that
in the
one. Come
country.
on. Come on.
The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they are so thrilled with Trump. So whether we charge IEPA...
Except the one factory worker who called him a pedophile protector. That guy was not thrilled with Trump. That guy had a problem with Trump, actually.
Tariffs, or whether we charge tariffs under a different section, that's what we're going to be doing. There's no way we can lever. This is what happened to our country. This is why we owe $38 trillion, which we'll get rid of in pretty good course. We have a very incompetent Fed chairman who likes high interest rates. For political reasons, he likes them. But we're going to have somebody very good. Interest rates should come down very substantially. I think we should pay the lowest interest rates on the planet. There should be no country, and we don't do that. We're number 38. This is just bad policy for a long period of time. But what's happened is we've made America strong again. We've made America great again. We should pay. As an example, the country of Switzerland, we were getting almost no tariffs from them. We had a $40 billion deficit.
To be fair, you got a tariff to Swiss.
The Prime Minister called me up. She said, but we are a small country, because I said we're going to raise it to 39% from nothing. That would have rendered them not very successful, as opposed to right now they're considered elite. But if we put a tariff, it would. And I realized then, she said,
he has no idea what tariffs do, doesn't he?
I said, you're a small country with a big deficit. For us, you're making a lot of money off the United States. If we do that, a lot of these elite countries, they're elite because we let them make so much money. And I want them to do well. But I don't want them to do well on the backs of the American taxpayers. So I appreciate your question. I think it's a reasonable answer.
President Trump, you said that you were disappointed with that, but were you surprised with this decision? What you found?
She's,
I was surprised.
Given what ICE is doing right now, I'd be very fucking weary of being in there with that accent. I have a feeling that if she asks him a question he doesn't like, he's just gonna fucking deport her. I say, fucking God bless the bravery.
Because I thought that what we did was, number one, according to, I mean, I read the paragraphs, I read very well. Great
it is deliberate. It is Quill. I say he doesn't understand, but I mean it's. I'm being bombastic. He understands it. He's incredibly fucking malicious.
You can't lose this case, but we can when judges are political, when they want to be politically correct, when they're catering to a group of people in D.C. Maybe I don't know what it is, because when you read it, there's no other interpretation. There is no other interpretation, but it's okay, because what has come out, and I'll say it for the third time and maybe the last time in a while, is that we've taken the uncertainty of tariffs out, because we had uncertainty. We got sued by sleazebags, I know them well, that are very outside country, China-centric, but outside country-centric. And they're going to end up not doing as well as they did before. America was becoming really, we're strong again. Hey, we have the strongest military. I rebuilt the military in the first term.
He's rebuilt
we have
it
the most powerful
like
military. We
Bionicles.
make the best equipment, and even them, you know, we could do much better. We have people that get paid a lot of money to manufacture Patriot missiles and javelins and all the different things, but when you want them, they're too slow, and we put them on notice, and they're going to make. Our country is building a lot of things right now, and our country is doing really well, and we're going to keep it that way. The bottom line is that the word certainty is now in the equation. Every single thing I said today is guaranteed certainty.
So strong the world is abandoning the dollar, and the world doesn't want to. It is the thing. Like, nobody in here asked for the American hegemony to be over. He's just done that to him, sen. There was no need at all.
It's been tested as
he would be very upset with
Jameson
you, Quill,
said
if he could read.
times. Literally, I said hundreds of times. He said, sir, actually thousands of times, and won in all of the courts. And we're just going back to that. And the problem is that we had other presidents that weren't into trade. Maybe they weren't business oriented. Maybe they weren't smart. We had some dummies too, you know. Respectfully say we had some real dummies. So we are going to keep it going just as before, probably more so. But
I mean, some of us
you're no longer going to be asking every time I got up. You'd ask,
didn't ask.
Well, what happens if you
the
can't
smart
charge
ones, like myself, because I'm certifiably the smartest
in
one.
their decision,
We're fine with the US hegemony.
Said, we can do these. We have alternatives. Yeah.
David, on the trade deals that were negotiated using IEEPA tariffs,
Yeah.
do those stand now, or are they have to be
Well,
redone?
some of them stand. Many of them stand. Some of them won't, and they'll be replaced with the other tariffs.
Mr. President, on the Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union next week? And will you speak with them?
They are invited, barely. Barely. 3 are happily invited. No, they're barely invited. Honestly, I couldn't care less if they come, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the trade deal, which is the framework which is to be signed with India sometime soon, will that stand now? And on the decision, nothing changes?
No, nothing changes. They'll be paying tariffs, and we will not be paying tariffs. Our deal with India is they pay tariffs. This is a reversal from what it used to be, as you know. India, I think Prime Minister Modi is a great gentleman, a great man, actually, but he was much smarter than the people that he was against in terms of the United States. He was ripping us off in India. So we made a deal with India, and it's a fair deal now, and we are not paying tariffs to them, and they are paying tariffs. We did a little.
He has no say in who goes to the address. Does he really not have a say? Do you mean legally, or do you mean that like he wouldn't be listened to? Because I feel like oftentimes, even if he formally doesn't have a say, he ends up having a say because he's a vindictive piece of shit, and if you displease him, he's going to go after your family. Cutting off the Ukraine aid, which let us renew all our equipment and ammunition while supplying the breadbasket of the world to stop top 3 geopolitical threats. That's called rebuilding, Chief. The whole thing with Russia and what America, not even America, but what Trump is doing is just so fucking stupid, bro. It's just, bro, what are you doing?
Are up as of now for this.
Mr. President.
No, the India deal is on here.
Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
All the deals are on. We're just going to do it a different way.
Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think there is another war that you stopped and you should take the credit, which is in Syria. Secretary Rubio, after his meeting in Munich with the Syrian Foreign Minister and the Kurdish General Muslim Abdi, he said that President Trump was directly involved in efforts to stop the fighting between the Kurds and the Syrians. How will your administration make sure that this peace is sustained? And do you support the idea
Well, it's a very different topic, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time. But all I can say is that the president of Syria, who I essentially put there, is doing a phenomenal job. He's a rough guy. He's not a choir boy. A choir boy couldn't do it. But Syria is coming together, really coming together well. And thus far, he's been very good to the Kurds. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President, what's your message to the Iranian people after 2 rounds of talks with them? Do you have any message to the Iranian people?
I didn't know that. The Iranian people in Iran or people here?
People in Iran.
They better negotiate a fair deal. They better negotiate. You know, the people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very sad situation. But 32,000 people were killed over a relatively short period of time. They were going to hang 800, 2 weeks ago, hang, some by crane. They lift them up with a tall crane, and they play them around the square. They were going to hang 837 people. And I gave them the word,
Did you say
if you
put him there?
hang
Yes,
one
he
person,
did.
even one person, that you're going to be hit right then and there. I wasn't waiting 2 weeks and negotiating. And they gave up the hanging. They didn't hang 837. Supposedly, they didn't hang anybody. But no, I feel very badly for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned multiple times foreign influence over the Supreme Court. Do you have evidence of that? And if not, will you investigate that?
You're going to find out.
What alternatives are you going to put into place in your relationship with Europe, and also those tariffs that have been called illegal? How they're going to go impact the relationship with Russia, that you sanction
Well,
some
I want
countries?
Europe to strengthen up. Europe has gone woke. Europe is not recognizable when you go into so many places. Not all countries. You look at Hungary. You look at Poland.
Did he say Hungary instead of Hungary? It sounded like he did, right? Also, Poland mentioned. Let's go, Poland strong.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Poland, anti-woke. Hell yeah. We do not do the wokeness. Women's rights, don't care about that. Gay marriage, not interested. Caring for the working class, we can leave that for the other countries. Poland. Big pug.
Czech, Slovakia. There are some countries that have gone very much the opposite. Some really, and some others. But Europe has to be strong.
That made the fuck up. I mean, it is. It is Stepan, though. It literally is. That is his source, right? That is always what his source is. His source is that he made it the fuck up. And thank you for the 151 biddies. I appreciate that, buddy. As a quick reminder to all of you guys, if you haven't followed already, I encourage you to do so. If you haven't liked the stream on YouTube, please do. That helps me greatly in the algorithm. And if you happen to have Amazon Prime and you haven't used your Prime sub yet, the one that you get for free once a month, I encourage you to use that on me. I will use that money to get myself a kebab. And that is good, right? You will be feeding a hungry Polish person. And in a way, that's the most leftist thing that he can do right this moment. So just remember.
Politics. And not recognizable. You go into...
That's why it's funny.
It's funny, but it's incredibly grim at the same time. And also thank you for the 151.
Some of the countries, I don't want to be specific, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. And they're not recognizable. They become... The environmentalists have taken over. They've got windmills destroying their fields and their beautiful meadows and their oceans, and they're paying a fortune.
I do not like those explosions.
Europe has to get smart. Europe's getting killed on two things, energy and immigration. And if they don't solve both of them fast, Europe is not the same place. Yeah, please.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today? And do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth? The two of them. Yeah.
To be fair, a lot of Americans lazily call hungry. I mean, I get that kinda, but I know it's foolish, right? And I know it makes no logical sense, but I feel like the president should probably say it properly. Wait, does it mean that this dude is not going to be there anymore now that I've died to him? That sucks if that's the case. So I get like one attempt, one proper attempt. Oh no, it looks like he might still be there. Ooh, nice amp. I am looking forward to that. Do we know if it's got Denuvo or not?
Mr. President,
I didn't call you.
You didn't call me? Yeah, Mr. President, to be clear, do you believe at the end of implementing these new tariff tools, the tariff rate and tariffs will ultimately be higher than they currently are?
Potentially higher. How much higher? It depends, whatever we want them to be. But we want them to be fair for other countries. And, you know, we have some countries that have treated us really badly for years, and it's going to be high for them. And we have other countries that have been very good, and it's going to be very reasonable for them. Yeah.
Specifically on the tariffs question, I mean on the $2,000.
I didn't call you.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do you have any plans to travel to India for the Quad Summit, and how do you think your relationship with India is right now?
I think my relationship with India is fantastic. And we're doing trade with India.
I do not like
India
this
pulled
enemy.
out of Russia. You know, India was getting its oil from Russia, right? And they pulled way back at my request because we want to settle that horrible war where 25,000 people are dying every month. And my relationship with Prime Minister Modi is, I would say, great. I also stopped a war between India and Pakistan, as you know.
He stopped all the wars.
10 planes were shot down. That war was going, and probably going nuclear. And just yesterday, the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 35 million lives by getting them to stop. That's and I did it largely with tariffs. I said, look, you're going to fight, that's fine, but you're not going to do business with the United States, and you're going to pay a 200% tariff, each country. And they called up and they said, we have made peace.
It's so cool, he stopped literally everywhere.
I just want to thank you all. Look, great certainty has been brought back to the economy of the United States and actually the economy of the world, because we generate so much in the world. We're the biggest in the world, and we're now the strongest by far. We were a country that was dead 1.5 years ago. Now we have the hottest country in the world.
True, America in 2024, famously known for being a dead country. Yeah, like, no, why would you ever go there would be just beyond me, you know? Like, why even bother?
We're going to keep it that way. Thank you very much, everybody.
He's so cool. He stopped the fight in a local pub yesterday. True. God, what a cunt. Jesus, I don't like that dude, man. I know nobody in here likes him. For good reason, no less, but holy shit. Alright, gang. Let us move on to Piracy. Since, you know, somebody, I think it was Amp that brought up that Resident Evil 7. No, 7? Is it 7? Is it 6? Resident Evil Requiem, in either case. Requiem is coming out in a couple of days, so Piracy feels like a good segue.
How much can this fucking orange say without repercussion, crisp to whack?
Literally, Stepan, an unlimited amount. Unironically, there are no consequences that will befall him. And that's like, I'm being genuinely honest. Nothing is ever going to happen to him. He's at a point in his life where he will die of old age before he sees consequences for any of this. Plus, like I said, I mean, he's not going to live until the end of his term, right? Like, old age is getting to him. He's fucking... You can see it sometimes as well, that he's got 3 years ahead of him, and he's not gonna live those 3 years. He just isn't. So there aren't gonna be any consequences. Not only that, but the Republicans are already gonna prep for the idea that if you criticize anything he's done, then you are speaking ill of the dead. You will see, bro. That's gonna be an absolute fucking angle for that scum. 7 came out like a decade ago. Requiem is 9. Shit. All right. Well then, since Resident Evil 9 is coming out soon, let's talk about Piracy.
Being sued on allegations of... NVIDIA's being sued on allegations of scraping millions of YouTube videos for training AI models, and is also being sued in a separate lawsuit for pirating books, the allegations say, to train AI models, much like Meta was sued for when it pirated books to train its own models. And as part of this, they're even talking internally about working with the GeForce Now team to use gameplay data for training their AI models. That's their subscription service for gaming to subscribe to a computer. Although unclear if the employees meant NVIDIA can spy on user play sessions for training, this is another reason to not...
I'm hosting a party the day he dies. I've already told my friends. I already said, that's you can quote me on that, okay? I said, any of the dictators die, right? We're talking fucking Putin, Trump, Netanyahu, fucking the Kim Jong-un from North Korea. Any of those fuckers bite the dust, I'm doing a subathon, bro. We're getting drunk, and I'm gonna make money off of... That is like an actual dream of mine. Unironically, that's like the bucket list shit. If I can do a subathon when a dictator dies and make money off of his death, I'm genuinely gonna touch myself whilst going to sleep on that night. Like, that is such an incredible fucking life to live. Even if it's a handful of dollars, I want it, bro. I want to make money through a subathon off of their death.
Subscribe to a computer in the cloud. When we asked NVIDIA about this, they said that although there is data that they capture for support, no, quote, GeForce Now end-user play session data is used in model training like Cosmos, end quote. So we're not sure exactly what the training team was talking about here, but given that they seem to have executive approvals and priority, we still think this is something to keep an eye on long term.
The fuck is this enemy?
They had something else to say too about the Anna's archive data. Quote, we're exploring internally whether we are willing to accept the risk of using this data, end quote. NVIDIA wrote to Shadow Library, Anna's archive, after Anna's archive informed NVIDIA that its materials were illegal. Quote, training measures statistical correlations in the aggregate across a vast body of data and encodes them into the parameters of a model, end quote. This was NVIDIA's response to the allegations of piracy in order to train models. So, perfect. Watching pirated movies, that's not piracy. All that is looking through the biological optical lens within the eye, the view frustum, if you will, of the human, to then interpret different wavelengths of light coming out of the screen to statistically correlate them with an image that is reconstructed in the brain. It's not
true. It's, look, he just doesn't understand it. I don't get to do piracy. You guys don't get to do piracy. Ruby doesn't get to do piracy. NVIDIA absolutely gets to do piracy. And you all can go and eat shit. It is what it is. And hey, Ruby, how you doing, love?
Actually piracy. That's the stuff it is instead.
Oh, when Orban kicks the bucket, there will be drag queens parading on the streets dancing Lady Gaga alongside LGBTQ couples getting married. I hope that's the case, but also from my list earlier, I forgot Lukashenko. If Lukashenko dies, I'm also doing a subathon. Any of those goes, and we are celebrating that together.
You know, actually, come to think of it, even writing the pirated file to flash storage isn't piracy, because all that is changing the voltage states of the NAND flash cells within the solid-state storage device to statistically correlate bits with something that comes out of the other side that just happens to be copyrighted content, but that's irrelevant here. In its own filing, NVIDIA claimed that the plaintiffs couldn't prove NVIDIA stole their specific works, despite having materials showing NVIDIA likely accessed Anna's archive. Quote, plaintiffs fail to allege that their works were downloaded from these websites, either as individual works or as part of any dataset, end quote. That's right, you can't prove that the bits that were used to train the model were actually the bits from that specific book, from the authors who are suing. But this isn't the only lawsuit against NVIDIA right now for AI training. YouTubers unrelated to us brought forth another lawsuit, this one claiming NVIDIA downloaded their videos for training without permission and by bypassing YouTube restrictions, along with millions of other videos. Alleged screenshots of NVIDIA employees communicating about doing whatever the fuck they want to get videos include a statement that, quote, paying $0, 0.00625 per video download seems like a good deal, end quote. Yeah, it's a great deal, actually, in the same way that only having...
I wish the names weren't censored. I'm tired of people who say shit like this having legal protection. It's the same with Epstein files. Like, stop censoring that. If the society fucking crumbles because so many high-powered people are pedos, then the society deserves to crumble.
To pay for gas on your way to then shoplift something from a store is a pretty good deal. The legal complaint reads, quote, defendant used automated tools for the sole purpose of circumventing YouTube's access barriers and extracting files never made available to the public. In doing so, defendant improperly obtained millions of videos from YouTube's platform. Defendant accessed, downloaded, stored, and utilized those videos to assemble training corpora for defendant's AI models and services, end quote. But anyone can make allegations. It's not like there were NVIDIA employees who were making jokes about watching videos while they were capturing Netflix in its entirety to then train on high-quality face images. Quote, who wants to watch all the movies while doing screen capture? We should get a lot of high-quality face videos from this. Should we download the whole Netflix too? End quote. Okay. All right, okay, look, it looks bad, but they had a good reason for this. The good reason was...
And who doesn't love easy money?
Okay, all right, you got them there. But Mingyu is probably just some lowly pawn at NVIDIA. It's not like he's the vice president of research or something.
Mingyu is vice president of research at NVIDIA.
They're really making it hard here to argue in their favor. But okay, we should hear him out. Maybe there's a good use case for the tool he's building that could use some kind of dated pop culture reference that could only have a positive interpretation.
No, this is NVIDIA. This is essentially, this is to do with piracy. The idea that NVIDIA is allowed to download and illegally utilize shit to train their AI and there are no legal consequences, whilst you and I are not allowed to download anything because that's bad. That's piracy, you know, that's strictly off limit. The big corporations get to do it though.
Cosmo is.
It's just you and me that don't.
Ask, have you ever watched the movie The Matrix?
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
We brought you this video with our own store at store.gamersaccess.net. GNCA doesn't have any third-party ad placements burdened into the videos right now, meaning that it's entirely supported by our viewers and AdSense. We just listed our memory shirts on the GN store, which features ghost RAM sticks on the front because, let's face it, this is the cheapest memory available. The back even has a DRAM cell represented with the state of the cell, giving a really cool diagram representing how RAM works if anyone could buy it. These are available in a highly breathable tri-blend and a comfortable 100% cotton. We also have our new light gray soldering and project mats on the store. We added these a few months ago, and they've already been popular.
I'm going to skip past this if you guys don't mind, because
rather than the mostly focus on the video training lawsuit where YouTube's involved, rather than the allegations of stealing books lawsuit for training there, mostly because the books one with Anna's Archive has a lot of parallels to the meta story that we already covered. So if you want to see that side of it, you should watch our meta content also on this channel. So the video theft class action is being brought forth by YouTubers we don't know a ton about, including TED Entertainment, which is the media company that owns H3H3 Productions, Golfholics, and Mr. Short Game. The latter of two are oddly golf-focused YouTube channels. We guess they don't see what NVIDIA is doing as the fair way.
To be fair, they sell cool shit. It's just the way he fires them off like that. It tickles my brain in a way I really don't like. I haven't put my finger on what it is exactly. I don't know if it's ADHD related or if it's something completely different. But when he starts rattling off products in that specific way, it does something to my fucking brain that I really don't like. It's very weird. I shouldn't be skipping past him advertising his own shit, right? I'm watching his video for free. It's not cool for me to be skipping past him shilling his own products, but it's the way, I don't know. It's so difficult to narrow down why the fuck it bothers me so.
It's a golf joke. I had to look it up. I don't know anything about golf. Quote, plaintiffs bring this class action on behalf of themselves and of a nationwide class of YouTube creators whose works were scraped, ingested, and trained on without authorization, end quote. At the heart of the lawsuit, the plaintiffs wrote, quote, this lawsuit arises from defendant, that's NVIDIA, unlawfully circumventing technological measures to access and scrape millions of copyrighted videos from the online viewing platform, YouTube, in order to feed, train, improve, and commercialize defendant's large-scale generative artificial intelligence, aka AI, foundational model named Cosmos. In case you're not familiar with Cosmos, this is how NVIDIA describes it.
NVIDIA Cosmos is a world foundation model development platform to advance physical AI. It includes auto-regressive world foundation models, diffusion-based world foundation models, advanced tokenizers, and an NVIDIA CUDA, an AI-accelerated data pipeline. Cosmos models ingest text, image, or video prompts and generate virtual world states as videos. Cosmos generations prioritize the unique requirements of AV and robotics use cases, like real-world environments, lighting, and object permanence. It starts with NVIDIA Cosmos.
Is he called Cosmos?
Frontier world foundation model for physical AI. Pre-trained on internet-scale video.
LOL, this music is so flat. Yeah, because it's AI people, right? They're creatively bankrupt. It's, of course the music is dog shit. It's just, it's not even that you can't make good music with AI. It's just these people don't care about art.
The application to physical space might explain why the golf channels are involved. This is where it gets pretty interesting because the plaintiffs are arguing that NVIDIA has additionally violated YouTube's terms of service, which is a separate issue with YouTube, where the platform has countermeasures to try and prevent scraping videos, such as identifying IP addresses that are pulling large amounts of them and then blocking those. And this is an interesting technical detail where instead of purely going after NVIDIA for intellectual property theft, or the misappropriation of their copyrighted content on grounds of IP infringement, which may have certain releases under YouTube's own agreements separately, they're going after NVIDIA additionally for intentionally circumventing countermeasures, which actually has protections written into law. They claim this is a violation of Section 1201 of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA, every YouTuber's favorite act. I'm sure they were thrilled when they were like, we finally get to turn it on someone else. And that section reads this, quote, no person shall circumvent a technological measure that effectively controls access to a work protected under this title, end quote, and defines circumvention as, quote, to descramble a scrambled work, to decrypt an encrypted work, or otherwise to avoid, bypass, remove, deactivate, or impair a technological measure without the authority of the copyright owner, end quote. I want to just draw attention.
Do you know what the worst part here is, though? Even if NVIDIA loses in the end, they're not going down, they're not gonna, like, you can't undo what they've done, and they're well aware of it. This is, like, it won't mean anything. NVIDIA could lose every single fucking court case in existence right now, and it's still too late. Like, this is happening. This is the reality. I just want to be able to build a PC under $5,000. Yeah, dude, I'm so happy I built my PC when I built my PC. Because this... my RAM went up in price by 5 times. That's not me being bombastic, by the way. It went up in price by 5 times. It's 5 times more expensive. Well, no, actually, that's not even true. It was 5 times more expensive. Now, last I checked, it's not available anymore. And that's just RAM. There's other shit there too.
To the start of this where it says no person, because NVIDIA, if I were you, that's my argument. It wasn't a person who did it. It was AI Jensen. It was the little Jensen avatar that they show at the keynotes. He's the one who did it. This is the key though. YouTube is not the copyright owner. And so it doesn't matter even if YouTube did grant authorization, which as far as we know they did not, but even if we just say they did, they're not the copyright owner of this content. The content creators are. And so this shifts the responsibility of granting IP release to the creators, not to YouTube. And that's our interpretation of why they chose this route to pursue for this particular lawsuit. It bypasses YouTube's willingness or unwillingness, whatever that may be, in participating, and instead focuses on the fact that they do have countermeasures that NVIDIA has allegedly circumvented here, where feasibly they would have had to bypass them to download the millions of copyrighted videos. And actually there's some evidence of that later in this. The only thing here that there's not evidence of is whether NVIDIA had any kind of permission from YouTube, but under section 1201, it wouldn't matter because that's not what would help here. So this is the key. NVIDIA is a tech company though, and it shows, quote, defendant used a video downloading program combined with virtual machines that rotated IP addresses to avoid detection and blocking, enabling the mass extraction of, at times, 80 years of video content per day, end quote. 80 years of content per day means thousands of years of content per year. It's hundreds of lifetimes of video content per year, effectively cataloging the human record as it exists as.
And they're going to steal so much of it that no single content creator is going to be able to do anything about it. And class action, like I said, is not going to be an end-all be-all anyway because it's too late. 80 years of content a day, chat. Thank you, Lua. 80 years of content a day. Can you imagine if you or I stole 80 years of something every day? Do you have any idea what the fuck the government would do to us, bro? We would be disappeared at night. There'd be nothing to come back to. We'd get fucking eviscerated and tortured overnight with all kinds of shit. They get to do that on mains.
Video as we know it. The common defense for LLMs and AI solutions has thus far been one of fair use, which is the useful defense. It's one that we've made for when we do reporting and we need to reference something else that technically someone else holds a copyright to, but
not my government, they'd hire me.
For the commentary,
depends what you'd steal, I suppose.
Education or parody for purposes of the content. So we're no strangers to fair use, like with the Bloomberg situation, where that was our argument for why Bloomberg shouldn't succeed in being assholes. But fair use is a defense, though, that you apply in court. And that's where NVIDIA is going next. The plaintiffs assert that this wasn't done in the name of research, which could be seen as a fair use case, but for, they call it, quote, commercial gain, end quote. They argued, quote, defendant requires significant amounts of data in order to feed, train, improve, and commercialize Cosmos, the video world model, created, owned, and controlled by defendant. Cosmos was not a research tool or isolated project, end quote. This commercial gain makes it a little complicated because if we take it back to reporting, which is one of the most common and reasonable applications of fair use, reporting also generates revenue. It could be argued as generating commercial gain, just like the argument against NVIDIA is here, but it's considered fair use. In this case, they would have to argue that NVIDIA did not sufficiently transform the work and that NVIDIA is possibly displacing the need for the original work. It is replacing its value, which is where Meta was able to defend itself in court previously. Surely nothing shady involved there. According to the plaintiffs, NVIDIA is working on a prompt-to-video generator, stating, quote, defendant has sought to, and has had some success with, creating an AI product that accepts language instruction and produces a video based on that instruction, end quote. And we looked around, and it's true. They are creating a text-to-video generator. In fact, there's a 46 or so minute long discussion with Minyu Liu who talks about how that's the objective of, or one of them, of Cosmos. So this may offer an argument that the tool replaces the need to watch the original source videos. Instead of, for example, watching a video of how to hold a golf club, or swin it. Is that what you do with them? I think so. NVIDIA's AI could use trained data to show you this instead and replace the original material that it trained on. This, in theory, could take ad revenue away from the original creators of that content, from the channels that NVIDIA is alleged to have taken from. The plaintiffs also argue that many YouTubers choose YouTube partially because of the download protections that the platform offers, stating, quote, content creators, including plaintiffs and class members, expect that their works will not be copied at scale without consent. YouTube's anti-circumvention software and protective terms of service are a driving factor behind content creators' decision to upload their video content to YouTube, end quote. I'm gonna be honest, that sounds like bullshit to me. That is not why I chose YouTube, and
I think a lot of these people would have chosen YouTube before that was a thing anyway, right? Because YouTube didn't have those. I feel like that's just, I don't jive with that argument at all. I feel like it'd be easy, in a lot of cases, it'd just be easy to disprove in court. There's no shot that they do, Lua. At least I don't know of any. If anything, I know of a few creators who, when they want to have these extra protections, they actually go to a different platform than YouTube.
I don't think it's why really much of anyone else chose YouTube, and that ruins that argument for us, I guess, if we were to ever participate in something like this, but it's just the
Come
fact.
back here later.
You choose YouTube because that's where everyone is. It's the platform people know. It's the platform people watch. It's easy to use. There's a reason it's basically a monopoly in this space. You don't choose it because you're like, let me just read the terms of service of all the different options out there, all three of them, if we include Dailymotion, I guess, and whatever scraps are left of Vimeo or something. No one's doing that, but okay, sure. So that's their argument. They say that's the reason they picked YouTube, and we don't agree with it. But sure, let's just go with that. Quote, rather than seek permission or pay a fair price for the audiovisual content hosted on YouTube, defendant harvested content creators' protected and copyrighted videos for commercial use and at scale without consent or compensation, end quote. They also essentially assert that NVIDIA can't take the AI genie out of the AI bottle, stating, quote,
that is
content
true.
creators
Yep.
such as plaintiffs and the class members will never be able to claw back the intellectual property unlawfully copied and used by defendant to train its generative AI. Once AI ingests content, that content is stored in its neural network and not capable of deletion or retraction, end quote. And that, as far as we understand, is true. It's difficult or maybe impossible in some situations, not sure, to rip out a specific
I feel like
piece of
YouTube is one
training
of the
data.
most unsafe if you don't want your shit downloaded. It even gets worse than that. Sometimes YouTube's thing that automatically picks up on like who the video belongs to, it just gets shit wrong. I, to this day, sometimes get a notification from YouTube that somebody's using my content and that they want me to review if it's being used illegally, because when Witcher 4 announced, we watched the trailer on YouTube, sorry, and I think we might have been one of the first creators to watch it because we were watching it on the day, and for some reason the automatic system ascribed the ownership of Witcher 4 trailer to me. I can show you screenshots later in Discord. I get notifications of other YouTubers watching that trailer and it asking me if I want a copyright strike. Like, bro, I do not speak for the entire country of Poland. Like, you are making some dangerous assumptions there. Or maybe that's what it is. Maybe they just assume that because I'm Polish, I own CD Projekt Red. But no, I just get notified about it now and then.
From a data set that's already been trained. Now, while not directly related to NVIDIA, YouTube CEO Neil Mohan previously spoke to BFF's Bloomberg, it's gonna get taken down now, in an article titled, quote, YouTube says OpenAI training Sora with its videos would break rules, end quote, about whether or not OpenAI training off of YouTube videos would be acceptable. The CEO told the publication that it would be, quote, a clear violation, end quote, of the platform's terms of use. Considering OpenAI uses NVIDIA GPUs, however, coupled with the fact that NVIDIA said it, quote, intends to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI,
sadly not,
quote, although that's been in question lately.
How about the overall commitment? Because last September, you and OpenAI...
There was never a commitment.
This actually is directly related to NVIDIA via that pathway. The broader point, though, is that YouTube itself has commented on this and said this isn't allowed. And that would include NVIDIA here, even though they were talking about
Why would I, Johnson, if your mum can do the washing for me?
So let's dive into some of the specifics of what the plaintiffs allege here. The lawsuit reads, quote, this case is about defendants' use of the HDVG130M, HDVILA100M, and How-To 100M datasets. each comprised of YouTube videos ingested to create the Cosmos Foundational AI model. Each of these datasets is made up entirely of YouTube source material that must be downloaded from YouTube to be used for AI training, end quote. To be clear, these are indexed and not YouTube video files themselves.
Dude, I was so neutral on AI usage, like so genuinely, honestly neutral on it. I'd even defend it sometimes. And these people have turned me like away from that position entirely. Because now I feel like any fucking form of defending AI is like supporting people who eat children. You know what I mean? Like, use your chat GPT. I'm not going to begrudge you that. But holy fuck, these people are evil. It's just thieves. It's just thievery. These people steal. And they're allowed to do it. Not even allowed, they're rewarded for it with bigger business contracts, with a fucking ownership of the government. It's just fucked, bro. Something supply chain for batteries, cobalt, child labor. Well, yeah, but you see, that's the problem, Unix, because I'm telling you that I don't like a lot of this AI shit, especially when it's to do with Palantir, and then you bring up that they use child labor, and now I'm sort of like, well, I kind of do like that, though, you know? Like, children yearn for the mines. I don't want you to be telling me things that might make me like them more. I don't want to like them.
Elaborates, quote, these datasets do not contain the videos themselves. A video dataset functions only as an index file that lists pointers such as URLs, YouTube IDs, or similar location identifiers. To use any such dataset, a company must retrieve the actual video files by downloading them directly from YouTube. Doing so requires new copying of each copyrighted work and requires bypassing YouTube's technological restrictions, terms of service, and licensing limitations, end quote. So the plaintiffs are saying that the class for the class action lawsuit should include all YouTube creators who are at least US-based who had videos listed in those indices that they were then trained off of for the AI solutions. The class definition includes any uploaders who were included in the named datasets. The plaintiffs point out that Mr. Short Game's videos appear 7 times, Golfaholics 99 times, and TEI 748 times. The lawsuit specifically calls out TEI's efforts.
The saddest thing about it is that they steal from everywhere and everything. Those are 2 fucking golf channels, bro, and Nvidia is stealing from them. Do we because I think that there's a thing that happens with maths where you hear something like 80 years of content a day and you don't know what the fuck that means, because what the fuck does that mean? That's just a weird sentence, right? Like, what does that mean? I don't understand language like that. Like, what does it mean to steal 80 years of content in a day? But they steal from everyone, from everything, from everywhere. I love how the US went after Anna's archive after the court declared that Facebook downloading ridiculous amounts of books from Anna's archive was a-okay. Yeah, look, if... I was going to say something savvy and funny and smart, but I have nothing. I genuinely have nothing. I'm just sad.
Writing, quote, TEI invested significant resources into producing and publishing this video content, and every one of these videos was downloaded, copied, and ingested by defendant without authorization, end quote. According to
I understand you. It's just beyond fucked.
The dataset, which consisted of 130 million YouTube videos and was compiled by researchers at Peking University in Beijing, was designated, quote, for academic use only, end quote, which was spelled out in all caps. That's how you know they're serious about it. And NVIDIA's use clearly was not academic. The rest of the terms read, any content...
No, it is academic. They are trying to see how much they can steal before there are any legal consequences so that somebody can write a book about it in the future. It's purely academic. It's the rawest type of academic. They want to know exactly how much they can get away with before there are any consequences for it. What else would it be if not academic? How are we doing, Cassie?
From HDVG 130M dataset is available for academic research purposes only. You agree not to reproduce, duplicate, copy, trade, or exploit for any commercial purposes. No distribution. Respect the privacy of personal information of the original source. Without the permission of the copyright owner, you are not allowed to perform any form of broadcasting, modification, or any other similar behavior to the dataset content, end quote. The usage license for dataset HDVLA 100M similarly states, quote, you agree that you will use the data solely for computational use for non-commercial research, end quote. This is where it starts to get pretty interesting, because fueling this lawsuit are leaks that were sent to 404 Media, a publication that previously published several screenshots of internal conversations among NVIDIA employees about this very topic. The article is titled, "Leaked Documents Show NVIDIA Scraping a Human Lifetime of Videos Per Day to Train AI." According to the publication, 404 Media, an anonymous former NVIDIA employee came forward and said that, quote, employees were asked to scrape videos from Netflix, YouTube, and other sources to train, end quote. In the article, alleged internal leaks show NVIDIA employees initially questioning the legality around downloading YouTube videos to train off of a Slack channel internally called Cosmos Dataset Creation, which is described as a, quote, channel to generate huge curated video dataset for video generative modeling, end quote. NVIDIA principal researcher Francesco Ferroni was screenshotted asking questions such as, quote, you mentioned you have YouTube 8M on PBSS. Could you add it to the spreadsheet? Smiley face. We probably cannot use it for non-research purposes, question mark, end quote. It's not a question, but okay. Someone else in the thread, whose name is redacted, responded and acknowledged that, quote, downloading YouTube videos is prohibited by YouTube's terms of service, end quote. Ferroni then followed up to ask, quote, okay, and presumably this data can only be used for research purposes, question mark. We really got to work on what a question is for this guy. But anyway, he also continues, quote, can you also comment on the usage terms for ACAV100M and YouTube 8M, end quote. That's while discussing the below 1 cent cost per video download, which, considering NVIDIA was recently worth $5 trillion, just seems kinda stingy. NVIDIA, I think you can afford it. According to 404 Media, on the topic of downloading copyrighted videos to train AI off,
why would you?
When NVIDIA
Why would you do
reportedly
things
said,
legally
quote,
when you have protection to do them
material
illegally?
For training is fair use is currently an open legal issue. Most companies seem to assume that it is, end quote. This goes back to the legal precedent we reported on when a judge sided with Meta versus book authors on procedural grounds, despite the company training on millions of copyrighted books without authorization. Back during the Meta lawsuit, employees talked about how they had authorization all the way from Zuckerberg, who just wanted to get something done quickly, showing CEO-level decision-making. And actually, we see that with the NVIDIA situation here too. An undisclosed NVIDIA employee wrote, quote, are we using YouTube 8M to download videos? If yes, do we have legal approval for the same? End quote. To which Minyu Liu, the vice president of research at NVIDIA, replied, quote, this is an executive decision. We have an umbrella approval for all of the data.
We're here today, not just to talk about the future of this company. We're here to talk about its destiny. We're here to talk about
4 elephants. 1 GPU.
With what sounds like a blank check to download and train off of whatever, Leo wrote on Slack, quote, Francesco, in the meeting today, we get permissions to download all kind of data. Should we download the whole Netflix too? How could we operationalize it, end quote. To which another user replied, quote, we should download the full Discovery Channel, end quote. And I'm just gonna say, that's like the perfect irony. I'm sure it'll be great when it goes to Discovery too. I'm sure there's a Bloodhound Gang joke in here also, but we'll come back to that for another time. Leo replied, quote, we need a PIC for it, end quote. PIC we assume is person in charge. He continued, quote, who wants to watch all the movies while doing screen capture, end quote. And to that, someone replied using the laughing face emoji, indicating that these people knew exactly what they were doing and that it was shady. Now the thread continues, and it also gets pretty interesting where an undisclosed employee from the Omniverse team, the infrastructure team, seemingly offered to help operationalize the effort, with the employee writing, quote, at least that's my understanding. His team has experience building large data sets with other big companies, smiley face, end quote. We're not sure if the smiley face is just a polite gesture or a nod to the fact that other big companies are also doing this sort of thing. So the plaintiffs have alleged evidence that NVIDIA has at least data sets that contain millions of links to YouTube videos, but that's not the same as piracy. It's not the same as downloading them. It's not like there's evidence of NVIDIA actually downloading the... Okay, show the evidence. Quote, found a list of files to download with high priority. Turns out there are 2.3 million raw videos missing in the HD VI.
I always had smiley face to my emails. Dude, my previous boss was amazing with this. I used to add smiley face to our internal communications. And then one time, one of the people that I was sending an email to complained about it. Nobody else ever did, and some of the people, when they would message me back, when they'd know me already, they'd include emojis in their text as well, which I always liked, because it's like a sign that you can be a little bit more informal with me, right? Like, I'm not going to bite you in the ass. We're both in here to stop crime. Let's not be making it any more complicated for one another. And one of the employees complained about the lack of professionalism that this indicates. And my boss told me to add emotes to every single email I ever sent to that person, and to make sure that it's more than one per email. And the entire time that was happening, she was defending me. Like, if that employee complained again, she was in there just fighting the battle. That was a good boss. That was a good team leader. It's a shame she quit. It plants a seed in their head that I'm a good person. It's important to manipulate them for future use. Yes, but you don't want to do that with the smiley face, because the smiley face can be taken as passive-aggressive. You want to do that with the winking face. And the cry-laughing emoji, even with what they've said, isn't actually all that funny. You're not good at manipulating, Johnson. Come on, my caramel-faced friend. I've got high expectations of you. Do better. I used to send an eggplant emoji to my math professor. That's a bad idea, yeah. That one just across the board. Do not. Do not do that. You hit them with the thumbs up. Dude, for me, I did something worse than that. I took a screenshot of their complaint saying that this is a lack of professionalism, and I set it as my work computer background, desktop background. There's no point hitting them with a thumbs up. You can just keep sending them emotes.
ILA dataset we have! Exclamation point, end quote. Look at how happy this guy is. According to 404 Media, HDVILA
That's a good
stands
one,
for
yeah.
High Resolution Video Language. In his Slack message,
immune.
Ferroni also wrote, quote, here are the missing YouTube links, end quote, and exclaimed with an exclamation point, let's put this in the downloading pipeline, end quote. The lawyers are really gonna be working overtime here. File it away under the things the lawyers really wish weren't in writing section. But maybe NVIDIA can argue that while they planned to download it and talked about downloading it, there's no evidence that suggests they actually did. That's sort of what they argued with the Anna's Archive situation. Quote, we're downloading both audio and video, end quote. Okay. All right. Not a good start. Really not a good start. And if there's any doubt that that was taken out of context and not reflective of content that's on YouTube specifically, quote, and subtitles, if available, and lots of content metadata provided by YouTube, end quote. NVIDIA really just might as well publish a book at this point called If I Did It, because this is really not looking good. Now, according to 404 Media...
I mean, he says that. He says it's not looking good. But what's the actual... Like, it's not looking good legally, but it's Jova. Right? I know I'm doomering big time, but the only way that you would be able to deal with this is if the country itself didn't want the corporation to do this. But the country itself does want the corporation to do this. The country itself very much wants the corporation to do this. So whatever punishment ends up being there, it won't be enough, and you can't lock the genie back in the bottle. They are going to keep doing this, no matter the outcome of the trial. If the trial properly fucking slaps them on the wrists, because it's not going to be anything more than a slap on the wrist, to be clear, they will just do it in a more sneaky manner, so they can't be, you know, legally fucked over again. They're not going to stop. Marley May will be like, good morning, user. I hope this finds you well. So, as of our last meeting discussion, no head. You lot are unemployed, aren't you? You're just jumping in on the fun, but you ain't got a job. I can tell. Get a job. Jobs are cool. Trump needs more racist AI videos, so he would encourage this. True. Jesus, that video depicting Obama as monkeys, just bro, what are you doing? If a Democrat did that, the fucking Republicans would be calling for their demission. Recently, one of my friends wrote an incredibly professional email to our instructor, and the reply was yes, smiley face. I had university professors that were exactly like that as well. Like, very quickly I picked up on the fact that the, like, full-on overblown professionalism is not the way with these people. One of my criminology professors was an Eastern European as well, although from a different side of the world than me. And talking to him was like, the less professionalism, the better. He was just such a chill dude.
NVIDIA downloaded roughly 38.5 million YouTube videos with internal emails showing the breakdown of the types of videos that the company downloaded. Leo reportedly wrote in an email, quote, "We are finalizing the V1 data pipeline and securing the necessary computing resources to build a video data factory that can yield a human lifetime visual experience worth of training data per day," end quote. Now, operationally, trying to download that many YouTube videos is a problem because YouTube doesn't want you doing that. As the legal complaint points out, YouTube, quote, "monitors downloading activity and may block IP addresses that make too many download attempts in a specified period," end quote. So to handle this, according to 404 Media's report, NVIDIA used a YouTube downloader called YTDLP, along with virtual machines that would refresh IP addresses to prevent YouTube from blocking them. On Slack, a screenshot shows an NVIDIA employee writing, quote, "Regarding YouTube blocking IPs, have you considered something like Bright Data for IP rotation? We're considering this for scraping LLM data right now. I have an account I can add you to if you want to try it," end quote. That anonymous team member on the Omniverse infrastructure team replied, quote, "We are on AWS and restarting a VM instance gives a new public IP,
you mean
so
Slippy,
that's not a
or
problem
just
so
anyone?
far," end quote. In the alleged Slack
So
thread,
use that
Leo
on mail. Well, I mean, look, when people like you and I do it, it's one thing. When they do it to so many videos a day that YouTube itself is like, no, bro, you got to stop downloading. And then they have ways to circumvent that as well. That's a whole fucking different monster. And a monster it is, make no mistake. Shit's giga fucked. Later, could you send me how you have the chats you read set up? Like, do you mean like a screenshot of my... Of the monitor where the chats and everything is? Or... Because, yeah, no problem. Just want to make sure I know what you're asking, yes? Alright, yeah, then no worries, I can do that. Actually, do you know what? I will do you one better. Let me beat up this old grandma who's done literally no harm to me whatsoever. Okay, she's been murdered. Let me just... There you go.
Also purportedly stated, quote, "Francesco, a while ago I wrote a YouTube data scraper. We used it to download several critical video data sets. Let's download all the best from YouTube," end quote. This statement was met with 3 thumbs up emojis, so we're all on board here. Speaking of the best of YouTube, an anonymous employee wrote, quote, "If you are still open to suggestions about YouTube channels that we could download, here are a couple of channels."
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm sorry that didn't work out. But I can see the appeal. I think we can all see the appeal, you know? It's just one of those things.
Channels that might be interesting to consider, end quote. The employee then shared numerous YouTube channels that include 8K Earth, Expedia, MKBHD, and more, while explaining why they would be good to train off of. They seem particularly interested in high-quality video, such as MKBHDs. Now, examining their list, I'm going to say we're offended. That list is missing an important, high-quality YouTube channel that has excellent cinematography, script writing, and tracking. And of course, we are referring to this one. Also, it would have been cool if we were in there, but I'm less offended about that. While this is outside the scope of the lawsuit, the alleged leaks also reveal that NVIDIA is training its AI off of GeForce Now footage, with NVIDIA Director of AI and the OpenAI first intern, Jim Fan, reportedly writing, quote, "Update, I have been meeting the people from GeForce Now, GFN, and will figure out a data plan with them. We will work closely with the GFN and related engineering teams to set up live game data capture, scale up the pipeline, and process them for training. High-quality game videos will be a very useful addition to our Sora effort," end quote. There's something a little unnerving about NVIDIA watching and judging you playing your games, but then again, I guess they were telling the truth when they said, Now, we're not sure if NVIDIA is actively capturing user sessions from GeForce Now. If they are, this is incredibly concerning.
Yeah, it's never too late,
the good news is you shouldn't have GeForce Now anyway, because it's another subscription service that is built, we think, with...
Hey, yo, shots fired at Cheeto. Cheeto's getting disrespected right now. Where is Cheeto when you need him to start firing shots back? Because let me tell you, Cheeto can fight, okay? With the slurs and everything. Bro's disrespecting him.
The intent to eventually
Summon
move as many
the
people over
Chudo.
to subscribing to your GPUs and your computer as possible as they further reduce the ownership of it. And this is a thing that can be exploited, where even just playing games doesn't necessarily seem that valuable, but it could be. One, for training, which is maybe you don't care about that, but two, let's say you have conversations in-game chat in those, you have voice chats. These are all things that, in theory, could be spied on by the company that's hosting the servers you're playing on. And whether or not that's used nefariously, it could also be ingested into training data sets if they decide to go that route. We're not sure if that's exactly what they're doing right now, or if they're talking about using the GeForce Now team to capture gameplay data from somewhere else that's not from GeForce Now users.
Yeah, see,
but the point is,
hey, yo,
they could do that if they wanted to do that, and that's a problem, of course. So, closing out its legal complaint, the plaintiffs demanded a, quote, trial by jury on all claims for which trial by jury is proper, end quote. Word on the street is if that's not an option, they'll move to their only other option.
I demand a trial by combat.
First of all, if we are getting trial by combat, I'm willing to represent humanity on this one. Second of all, why would trial by jury be ruled like not proper or not available or whatever? I feel like that's exactly what you'd want there, right? For regular people to hear it out and make arguments there. Hey, Jotun, congratulations, buddy. Happy for you.
Under the plaintiff's prayer for relief section, they assert that all members of the class...
Also, fuck this guy for reminding me of how tragic Game of Thrones went. And thank this guy for giving me an opportunity to tell you guys that The Tale of Dunk and Egg, the new TV show from Game of Thrones, is very good. I highly encourage you to watch it.
Action lawsuit are, quote, entitled to statutory damages, injunctive relief, impoundment, and attorney's fees and costs, end quote. Ultimately, the plaintiffs are asking for a few things.
I don't know. I don't want to either, Lou. I'm just saying if it comes to that,
willfully
I am
circumvented
here.
the copyright protection systems of YouTube intended to protect plaintiffs and the class members' audiovisual content, end quote. Monetary awards that include statutory damages and attorney's fees and costs, and for the defendant to stop infringing on the plaintiff's content along with any, quote, further relief as the court may deem just and proper, end quote. This takes us to the next topic, which is delving into what NVIDIA might say in response to this lawsuit. So, look, we're not lawyers, and we don't predict the future. That's Palantir's job.
Palantir.
But the company seems to have tipped their hand a bit in its response to 404 Media's report. NVIDIA said to 404, quote, we respect the rights of all content creators and are confident that our models and our research efforts are in full compliance with the letter and the spirit of copyright law, end quote. Which is interesting, because we didn't feel like they, what was the quote here? Respected the rights of all...
They know they don't. That's just like a boilerplate answer, though. That's literally, that's just how it goes, right? They are well aware of the fact that they are chatting pure wham. Jesus, that was a fat whiff.
Content creators, when
True
we felt
wham.
they
Absolutely
were continually applying pressure to us to try and change the content of reviews for their GPUs. If you don't remember, we ran a video last year standing on a random bridge in Taipei somewhere about how NVIDIA was...
Hey, Amanax, thank you for the subscription. 11 months.
Almost a year. We're going strong.
Yes, we are. And here's to another year, my friend. How are you doing? How's your Friday going?
Repeatedly pushing behind the scenes to include things like MFG4X data, frame rate data, in benchmarks that might not include things with MFG4X, which is just bullshit. It's bullshit to have it anyway. It's even more bullshit to compare it against stuff that doesn't have that. And that was kind of with the carrot on a stick of, well, you like the engineering interview discussions, don't you? And you sure wouldn't want those to go away, would you? That was kind of how we felt about it. So NVIDIA's response of, we respect the rights of all content creators, just fuck off with that. It's all about control for NVIDIA, I think.
Of course
and
it is.
You see that too with how they deal with allocation for partners, where NVIDIA's biggest cudgel that they wield in the industry has always been allocation. So for partners, even for YouTube in this situation, I find it interesting where Google also, although it has its own solutions it's making, Google does also still use NVIDIA GPUs for things. And there may be a little bit of a hesitation there between the two companies to get legally involved with each other in something like this, as opposed to just letting the creators and NVIDIA deal with it, because of relationships that they may have for things like buying and selling GPUs. Both of them would want that to continue without any hitches or any additional unnecessary legal overhead as a result of this class action, where technically YouTube's terms of service are being violated, and it's on YouTube to enforce that against NVIDIA.
True, Semi,
I don't really
true.
see that happening. They both kind of need each other for different things. They're competitors in some ways, but they're also collaborators in a lot of ways. And the biggest thing that keeps the machine smooth is currency. Anyway, NVIDIA added, quote, copyright law protects particular expressions, but not facts, ideas, data, or information.
Down here, right?
This is true. In copyright law, you can't copyright
I'm gonna
things
do
that are
that now.
simply facts. I mean, the fact that water is H2O is not something copyrightable by the person who initially discovered that. It's a discovery, but in the same way that running test data, the data itself, especially something that is publicly discoverable, is not copyrightable. So NVIDIA is correct here. NVIDIA continues, quote, anyone is free to learn facts, ideas, data, or information.
This weekend is my 5-year anniversary with my partner, so I'm trying to be happy. Hell yeah, that's one hell of a reason to be happy. Do you guys have anything planned? And also congratulations, and I'm happy for you. I'm sorry, Slip. But hey, cherish other people's happiness, and it's only a matter of time until you find your own. Karma has a way of doing good for you when you do good for others. But not good at the cost of yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't let people take advantage. You know what I mean. Everyone knows what I mean.
Fair use also protects the ability to use a work for a transformative purpose, such as model training, end quote. The words fair use and transformative also came up a lot during the meta versus book authors case that we covered previously. In Discovery, internal meta messages described training data sets as containing pirated works, with one employee writing, quote, I don't think we should use pirated material. I really need to draw a line there, end quote. And another stating that, quote, using pirated material should be beyond our ethical threshold, end quote. As we said last time, mostly more surprising that Facebook and Meta have one. More than a dozen authors sued for copyright infringement, but the judge dismissed the case.
Hey, spending time together is something planned, Amanax. I'm not just talking about something like a date. Like a board game night can be an excellent thing. When probably this Sunday, and if not Sunday, then Monday, if time allows after work, me and my fiance want to sit down and finish building the minis that we've got, the Warhammer minis. We're obviously going to play a game or two first, and then as soon as we're done with that, we want to sit down together in the living room and start painting them together as we put on a TV show that we both enjoy. And that's like, I prefer that over going to a restaurant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit's fire to me.
Concluding that the plaintiffs had not demonstrated concrete financial harm and described Meta's use of the material as, quote, transformative, end quote. We think there's a chance that NVIDIA might take a page out of the Meta playbook, seeing as they've probably already downloaded it from Anna's archive anyway. Although we don't think this is likely, it's possible that NVIDIA might not admit it trained off of the plaintiffs' videos if, in fact, it did. And the reason they might not admit it is mostly because ripping the trained data out of the model is difficult to do.
I'm known for
the best
cuteness,
thing the plaintiffs can try to do is prove somehow that that data is in there, such as by interacting with, in the example of the Meta case, you can interact with the Meta AI LLM solution and ask it questions to try to get it to extract information from specific books to prove that those specific books were pirated. But short of some way to prove that that specific data is used in the model, the best thing they're going to be able to do is try and go through discovery and drag NVIDIA through it and find internal conversations that can reinforce what was used in it specifically. And that's probably the route that they're going to be going, in our opinions. But identifying source material in the model itself would be challenging if there's millions upon millions of videos and it's all kind of mixed together. So if this goes to discovery based on the Slack logs, it seems likely that there's some level of evidence for the plaintiffs to leverage. NVIDIA may argue Cosmos began as a research tool, even if it was designed to go commercial. They may argue that it's for the public good, and that ruling against it would set a bad precedent that would stifle innovation, not just for NVIDIA, but for the vital and burgeoning AI industry within the US as a whole. Vital here because you wouldn't want to crush the economy on your watch, would you? As kind of the other cudgel that NVIDIA wields right now. It's possible that NVIDIA may also try and claim that, unlike with books, which people have to purchase, YouTube videos are free, sort of. There's ads, but...
Yeah, but they're not free to steal like that. Like, you know what I mean? Especially not like, look, I could maybe forgive you, and this is a big maybe. Actually, no, I wouldn't forgive this, because I was going to say I could maybe forgive you if you're, like, yoinking shit off of huge fucking channels. But no, because you're a huge fucking corporation. Like, I would forgive a regular person yoinking shit. And I would forgive a regular person yoinking shit from big corporations, but I wouldn't forgive big corporations yoinking shit from big content creators just because they're big content creators. I enjoyed this model. It translates you cracking the smile reading chat well. I should, one of these days, it will inevitably happen. I'm not saying it will be anytime soon, right? But one of these days, for sure. Especially since I've actually taken steps to get my ADHD diagnosis sorted out. So that's going to be interesting. I'll keep things close to the chest for now. But I'm seeking professional help in that regard. And I will obviously update you guys once I am at a further stage than I am right now. But one of these days, I will probably look into tweaking the tracking a little bit to make it follow my expressions a little bit better. Because it used to be in a better place with my previous tracker, and then Lua sent me a message saying that my previous tracker has an issue with the lithium battery where sometimes it gets set on fire and then explodes. And they were recalling all of the units. So unfortunately that is gone now. And I am deeply saddened by that fact, but at the same time appreciative of the fact that I did not experience an explosion in my home. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. So now I'm back to the regular, just like a stand for my iPhone, and that's just... My phone just sits there. There's no, like, fancy tracking and shit anymore. But I can maybe make up for bits and bobs of it. I'm just gonna have to do a lot of work for it. One of these days. Why are you papegaying me? So it's Lua's fault again? Kind of. Yeah, it's, It is, yeah, 100%. Fully Lua's fault. You can blame her. I just complimented it and you shouted it. No, it's not that it's bad, it's that I can make it even more precise, I'm saying. Because I like the fact, so I like how easily, so I don't laugh out loud very much, but I smile a decent amount when something entertains me, and I know that that translates well, but I know, for example, that sometimes when I shutter my eyes a little bit, I'm not closing them, I'm just sort of like focusing my eyesight. I know the model closes his eyes in full, so I would maybe want to tweak that a little bit. But yeah, I'm not trying to shit on it, despite you liking it. Don't worry. Hey Blue, how you doing? Why is XTD changed into a cursed cat? I don't know, but I actually really like it, to be honest.
You don't have to buy a YouTube video in the same way you have to buy a book, at least.
Wanted to be here yesterday, but I got sick. Don't worry, Oscar. If you would have been here yesterday, then you would have been staring at an empty screen, because I don't stream on Thursdays. But I'm glad you wanted to be here. And I'm also not happy that you got sick. I hope everything's okay, buddy. Good evening, Governor. I saved your home, you ungrateful cunt. It was like a Schrodinger's explosion though, right? Because it won't blow up until it blows up. So technically you did, but technically you didn't. You see what I'm saying?
Unless they also scraped members' videos, which would be an interesting avenue to explore if they did. But this ignores, one, the ad revenue that YouTube creators might miss out on, but mostly it just falls apart because it's irrelevant. The content isn't theirs to use. It doesn't really matter how much ad revenue the creator's missing out on. You'd need a license to use it for purposes purely of commercial repurposing without any kind of transformation or any other fair use defense here. Unless, of course, the judge and the jury agree that it is fair use. Speaking of ad revenue, though...
That would be like the most fucked thing ever if they do agree. That is a badass-looking ninja lady. I want to go down there and fight her.
NVIDIA may be able to try and get the plaintiff to prove specific monetary damages, which would be difficult for the plaintiff to do, because that was the linchpin in the Meta versus the book authors case, where logistically it would be difficult as plaintiffs to quantify what precisely the financial damage is in the event that a how to golf video was ingested by AI and spat out to someone else. You'd have to prove some way that there's a lost revenue opportunity there. And also the value isn't necessarily in continued views of a video of how to golf or something, but in unlicensed information that comes from that level of expertise. Having said that, one thing we're confident that NVIDIA will want to avoid is the discovery phase, which is where internal documents and communication will have to come to light. It'll be interesting to see if this actually goes to trial or gets settled before then. Big companies have cried for decades now.
That woman looks cool, I want to fight her. She attacked me first. Okay, I'm just defending myself at that point. Look, she took half my fucking health bar. I do significantly less damage than she does. I do not like that fact.
Now, about people stealing their content, stealing their intellectual property, stealing videos, movies, music, doing emulation of video games, and it's to the extent that in the past there have even been court cases where to make an example out of people, especially a couple decades ago with music when Napster, Kazaa, LimeWire, and Aries were a thing, people were dragged through the court system and had actual convictions against them for various types of crime, with fines and penalties and all sorts of things. Now, it was more common when someone was a serial seeder as opposed to just a downloader, but there were a couple instances of downloaders being made examples of. And when it's the companies who feel they're stolen from, apparently it's okay to pursue it. That's when it's a problem. But when you have...
Dude, Games Workshop with the STLs and shit, whilst their product gets more expensive and whilst they sell you less of it year by year for a higher price, and then fucking, God forbid, you want to look into 3D printing, you become fucking Satan. I don't know if you guys even know this, but if you, like, there are official Games Workshop tournaments where people play Warhammer, right? And if you show up to any of those with a 3D printed mini, they fucking ban you from their shit for life, to my understanding. Like, it is grim. Local events will let you do 3D printed shit, obviously, but Games Workshop looks at you like you just fucking headbutted their grandma if you show up with 3D printed anything. And it's a fucking, like, tabletop game. And they're cunts.
Something you can offer
we need them to piss off
that
Nintendo
they can
more.
Then ingest
yes,
and use
please
to make
and thank
billions
you.
Of dollars.
Unironically, I am making a pledge right now, okay? I am making a pledge, chat. Once I have taken over Poland, which as you well know is just a matter of time, I'm gonna make this country a fucking haven for piracy. I'm gonna make this country a safe haven for downloading shit. I'm gonna make this country a safe haven for 3D printing your Warhammer minis. Or, I'm gonna bully Games Workshop into selling those minis at a more reasonable price point than this shit. Whatever it is though, Poland's gonna be on the frontiers. I'm telling you, it's gonna be great.
Off of, fucking deal with it. Companies have put every mechanism possible in place to prevent piracy. They have spent billions of dollars on this industry, finding ways through hardware and software and handshakes and encryption and whatever to try and block the unauthorized downloading of, viewing of, or use of content and software. To the extent that, although it's beneficial to these companies for other reasons, like subscription money ad infinitum, they've moved to software as a service, where software as a service at least seemed like it sort of started as an anti-piracy measure. Now, the argument might have been, well, it's easier to update. You get updates, you pay for them. But also it was a way to try and mitigate how easy it was to pirate software. And now when you have something valuable to them, they don't think...
Nothing stops pirates except the Nouveau. Look, Polish people managed to crack the Enigma, okay? I feel like if I give them the tools they need, they're gonna crack the Nouveau as well. I'm telling you, it's gonna be government assisted and shit. I am gonna make them sign a code of conduct, okay? I don't want any of fucking Empress's unhinged rants alongside my crack. Unless that's the only option, and then in that case I can at least tolerate it, right? It's like something in exchange for something else. But I'd rather there not be those. Like, I just the product, please, not the unhinged rants about trans people being bad. Empress is nowhere to be found. Yeah, Empress was always insane though, right? So, fucking it's anyone's guess what the fuck happened to her. Chris, you have to set project goals for government projects. I intend to be the God King, okay? Whatever I say goes. There's no need for a project. There's just gonna be obedience, but not the bad kind of obedience. Like, you want to obey because I've got banger ideas kind of obedience. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really say you don't want to do whatever I tell you to do, but also you don't actually want to say you don't want to do, because you do want to do what I tell you to do, because it's just like a really cool project. I'm telling you, that's on God for real, for real.
Twice about just taking it. So these companies also do this to people
2 years.
who use
They'd get like a
video
week
on YouTube just to share with family and friends. It might not just be sort of professional shit posters like us. It could also be people who just upload a family barbecue or party or whatever to YouTube to send out to the wider extended family. Suddenly, this is something that, as innocent as it is, with all 27 views that it has, it gets sucked into some training system somewhere to then replicate through one way or another the mannerisms, the looks, the actions of your family members you've recorded and put on the internet, even if it was just to kind of share amongst yourselves. And unlisted or not really clear how much that would protect you at that point. But we do think there are fair use cases for using YouTube videos for things like reporting, like education, newsworthiness. I mean,
True,
in
Oski,
this
that's how we're
video
gonna do
alone,
that.
we've done it several times where we've embedded things for purposes of commentary, newsworthiness, education, information, or even parody in a few instances. And there's legal precedent for that. It's very well established at this point. It's been tested. So there's a lot of nuance there that's understood. But the fact that internal communications...
It's also not even comparable to what Nvidia's doing. What this dude's talking about is closer to like freedom of speech, right? The idea that I am going to talk about this thing, and in order to talk about this thing, I need to provide you context. And okay, I've clicked a button, all right. And in order to provide you that context, I need to play you a video or a clip or some content from the thing that I'm talking about so that you know I'm just not making random shit up. What Nvidia's doing is just fucking stealing. It's just thievery. Every day of the week. And it's 80 years of thievery in a day. 80 years, bro.
Just Nvidia questioned this, only to then move on to using laughing face emojis and joking about who's gonna watch all of Netflix in response to suggestions that the company should just steal everything, at the very least, based on how we read it. They knew they were doing something that at least sounded unethical. Right now, without clear rules and regulations around what AI can train off of, we're concerned that NVIDIA and other AI companies will simply continue to vacuum unfathomable amounts of user-created content because, as the mother of computing, Grace Hopper, once said, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to get permission, end quote. Of course, Grace Hopper is just another name that NVIDIA stole.
Grace Hopper is now in full production.
Although certainly they'd argue that was out of respect. It's a classic case of big...
Dude, if I was like a good human being and I died and Nvidia made like some program after me or whatever the fuck, and they were using it like these cunts are using it to essentially bring about like the doom of Valyria, but humanity, like real life version, I would fucking come back from my grave to haunt them. Like, fucking dude, that is just grim to think about. That is just fucking sad. That is just profoundly sad. Grace Hopper deserves better. That's actually made me sad, bro. What the fuck? Sheesh.
Make lots of money now and try to manage the slap on the wrist later. One of the issues with training LLMs is that it becomes difficult to delete data once it's been ingested. As Data Tribe venture partner John Funge put it, quote, under GDPR, deleting personal data is like picking carrots out of a salad. But deleting data from a trained LLM is more like trying to retrieve a whole strawberry from a smoothie. Once the data has been integrated into the model, it's no longer a discrete chunk. It's deeply embedded in the very structure of the model's learned behaviors, end quote. Our current environment is also not conducive to an ethical AI company, whatever that might look like. Maybe it's a company that goes around and gets permission and licensing and whatever from every single entity that it intends to use. They would get crushed by the companies that are willing to lie and steal their way to the top, because whoever's in those top couple
Chris boy, what are you doing about this could go into shit soon? Where are we moving? We are currently talking about setting up a Matrix server, but for the most part, the issue is that people smarter than me have no confidence in Matrix being a viable alternative. So whilst we are going to set it up, I'm going to take certain steps to make sure that the Discord administration is also given to somebody other than myself who will not mind in my moderation team to use their like real IDs to confirm who they are. To make sure that like if I get bonked, for example, by the automatic detection, because I'm not sending them my ID, then the entire server is in fucked. And beyond that, we're literally just going to have to wait and see how it unfolds. Because at first it's supposed to be one of those like automatic things where based on your chat history determines how old you are. So with my chat history, it shouldn't be a problem, because not only do we constantly engage in adult conversation, I mention my age a decent amount when we do have these conversations. But beyond that, we're just going to have to wait and see, right? We're going to take proactive steps. But the issue is that this has been rolled out and pushed in so quickly that alternatives haven't really been established yet. Is Matrix the best alternative? To my understanding, yes, and it's not a great alternative.
Positions, especially first place here, they're going to be able to afford whatever the fine is later, whatever the damage is.
True, they are.
That they're facing allegations for. That's something that's just the cost of doing business. This reminds us of a debate between Google DeepMind AI researcher Timothy Wen and writer Jan Teller. Wen admitted that AI has scraped a lot of content from the internet, which poses a lot of copyright issues. Spinning the situation, however, he said,
but that's also democratized knowledge. So there are ways in which it's been good and bad. Now we have this very intelligent system that has all this knowledge from books, but yet, maybe, obviously there are many authors that aren't going to be too happy, right? So there are always going to be kind of winners and losers.
Teller aptly retorted that there were already existing laws put in place that protected content creators, but that this new technology moved faster than lawmakers could keep up with. Speaking on the topic of democratizing knowledge, she stated,
and maybe one can say, okay, that's a different new form of sharing of anybody. What you contribute is everybody's own, everybody owns it. But then actually that speaks to nationalizing all technology platforms, because then we shall also own all the platforms. Because you cannot just, you want to have your cake and eat it. You want to have the work that I and everyone else have created. But we want to have your work then also and want to have control over it.
And it sure seemed like the AI bros didn't know how to respond to that. It's okay for them to take from everybody else who's put work in, because they're democratizing out. They're spreading democracy.
True.
One of the best things that companies can do, I guess, especially if it involves oil, which is a different topic for AI, but is also related. But to them, it's okay.
Also, that was a cool retort from the lady. I wish we would have seen how the AI bros actually reacted to that. Because I like the fact that that is what it boils down to, right? They're stealing shit, but you don't get their services for free. We kind of do currently, but we get them for free currently on purpose, because the idea is to hook you in and then slowly start removing features. Some AI models have already started doing that, where previously you'd have like so many points or whatever the fuck's a day to speak with it with, and you're slowly but surely getting less and less and fewer of those.
Okay to take to then spread something they view as a positive. As soon as you want a piece of that back for what you've put in, that's socialism. For them, though, it's capitalism. It's the classic privatize the profits and socialize the losses.
Yep, true.
In this case, the costs and the knowledge and data acquisition.
The millionaires love socialism. They just want to be very selective with it.
So AI companies like NVIDIA may argue that they are continuing to democratize everything. Sam Altman, in that recent video we ran on the GN channel, said this.
You could choose to cure cancer by having AI do a bunch of research, or you could choose to offer free education to everybody on Earth.
These companies, one, are delusional, and two, are painting a rosy picture of what it is they're actually doing. Because, of course, if your pitch is, but we can cure cancer, then probably pretty much everyone is on board with their work being used in that. It's admirable. Maybe should still probably pay for it if they're going to then profit off of it, but it would be difficult to argue. But that's not what's actually happening here. They're selling something that generates videos
we watched his
of Will
reaction
Smith
to it earlier
eating
today.
Spaghetti. Like, that's what they're doing here. So they paint a rosy picture of everything, but in reality, NVIDIA and these AI companies, they are not democratizing knowledge. They are selling everyone out for their own benefit. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Go to store.gamersnexus.net to support us directly, or patreon.com/gamersnexus. We could use your help in...
I like this guy. This guy seems cool. He's fighting the good fight. Future of AI curing cancer be like the cure of cancer now exists, but you cannot afford it. Dude, if AI could be used to cure cancer, like it's like what you said a moment ago, everyone would be fine with their work being used for it, but that's not what they're gonna do with it. They're gonna profit to high fucking heavens with content that they have stolen from people when they can afford to pay them. Well, to be fair, actually, they probably can't afford to pay them. Because if they're stealing 80 years of content a day, then there is no way that you can afford that kind of money. Like, just the logistics of asking for permission there would be fucking impossible. That's why they prefer to steal all of it. He is mad, like insane mad. Yeah, he used the word rhino for the first time in a fucking minute. He is properly unhappy with those people. You can't cure cancer, dude? Wait, can you actually not, like, do anything in that direction? I'll be honest with you, I don't have much knowledge about cancer in general. Bar the years I've spent playing League of Legends. Is there a difference in Matrix with what client you use? Will someone using Cine be able to join the same space as someone using Element? I have no idea, Manax. I side with the cancer. Jesus, Goro. Since it's decentralized, you can use any client. Yeah, I'll make sure that Discord on our end is taken care of. It's just fucking annoying what Discord's doing. It's such a fucking mess. I don't like these companies wanting to force you to send them your ID. And then those companies are experiencing relatively frequent leaks of their databases where your ID is stored. Oh, it's like a bat creature. Kinda cute looking. My cancer was curable. I didn't realize you had one. I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm happy that it was cured. Good on you. Stay strong. It would be difficult, but I don't think impossible. I am simplifying. Cancer is your cells breaking down and refusing to die. Yeah, I don't know much about any of that. I don't have much experience with cancer. Like, I understand chemotherapy, and I understand, like, in theory what is going on, but I wouldn't know if it's curable in the, like, the raw sense of that word, you know what I mean? It feels like a betrayal, especially since I am in one space on Discord where I had to prove I was 18 plus, but they used a separate safe platform for that. Discord and mods didn't see even a pixel of my ID. Actually, that seems... I would want to know what platform they've used that allowed for that, because we have a verification system going on as well. If I even get a fucking whiff of someone being underage, the mods immediately are like, send ID. But obviously I understand why somebody might be hesitant to do that. But if there's a whole ass platform for it, that's... I'd want to know what platform that is and how that works. Thyroid, been clear for 12 years now. I'm happy to hear that, Beans. Yeah. Fuck your thyroids. Or the thyroid cancer, I mean, specifically, not... You know what I mean. Cancer bad. Body part good. So far, the best result in the sense is gene therapy, with the drawback of it being both experimental, expensive, and very localized. Yeah, and I somehow don't think that those companies and those people will want to spend their money on it, right? It's more like a, if anything, a happy byproduct, maybe. I can hear it. I can't see it, though. Where is it? Oh, there it is. There it is. Bop. But yeah, I'm super happy for you, Beans. We have a bit more content, but like I was saying, I want to go for about 3 hours today, and then I want to go do some more cleaning, because I need to clean the house, chat. The house is not clean, and it needs to be. But we can yap for a little bit. I enjoy the yapping. Don't know if you guys do. I hope you do. No worries, Lua, no worries. Thank you for being here, as always. Will you raid someone other than some random non-humanoid entity / corporation? I would love to, but I need suggestions for who to raid as well. Because, I mean, look, I can keep raiding Reservoir 24/7, but it'd be nice to not do that, right? It'd be nice to branch out a little bit. Literally any VTuber. I can raid any VTuber, sure. It's just sometimes I don't like doing that, because the problem is that, like, we've just covered heavy politics, and I'm going to raid us into a VTuber that doesn't do politics, and I know that some of you are going to be fucking weird. Oh, literally anyone in the politics tag? Yeah, we can do that in a sec. It was Yoti, I believe they had a Discord bot that generated link if you needed to verify your age. Yoti only returns the date, and if the age is over or below 18 or 21, I don't remember. Yoti being the age verification app. That's good to know. It's good to know that that is a thing. Because that will come in handy. I have the room reading ability of a moth. I feel like moths would be very good at reading the room. I don't know why I think that, but I feel like they'd be good at it. Do you think world goes into some kind of a shit old future that it shouldn't supposed to go in the first place? I don't know about shouldn't supposed to, right? Because things kind of happened as a result of other things happening. But if there is like a version of the future that I think we're most probably heading into, I would say it's like cyberpunk-esque, right? You've got fucking huge corporations with a disproportionate amount of power and people who live in an almost dystopian version of what we have right now. Not even an almost dystopian, but just a dystopian. Like, I feel like that's most likely, except we're probably not going to have a lot of the cool shit that they do have in Cyberpunk. So we're going to have, like, the worst of both worlds, you know? I don't know, man, they always fly around and smack into things because the light blinds them. Well, yeah, but when there is no light, right? When they're in their natural environment, they know exactly where the fuck to go. Alright, I think I'm not going to push any further here. We're going to head back to the shrine. And I shall do as I was requested by Amp. And I shall go on Twitch. And I shall find a VTuber for us to raid into. Oh, Niara's live, actually. We can do that. That one, both politics and a VTuber. That sorts that out. Look at that. Alright, chat. Thank you all for being here. I apologize for cutting the stream short. I will be back with you next week. Good night, everyone. Sleep tight, drink plenty of water. And as always, if you have any questions or you just want to get in touch, message me on Discord. Bye-bye, take care, and behave yourselves in Niara's stream. Night-night, everyone.